Welcome back to another episode of Around the Mage Table. This is episode 43 of the podcast for the rest of us. It's your boy Frank, joined by our other hosts. We'll start with saying hello to Ayaski. How you doing today, bud?
Hey, how's it going?
And then how about you, Lithian?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing awesome. Let's go.
All right. And of course, the most hated person on the internet, Scrapclaw.
Me. Why am I always last?
Because you're the most hated person, so we have to address you.
Oh, okay, that's valid.
I say this only because we are enjoying, so there's a correlation for sure, seeing when a new season starts that our YouTube picks up, which we greatly appreciate, and we thank you guys for watching. I'm going to take a moment to be a little selfish here and say, please like, subscribe, do the comments thing, make the algorithm very happy. We really appreciate it. I'll even slow down for just a quick second and say, don't also forget to go to our website, mythicdungeonly.com. It's actually surprising how many people join our Discord and don't know this website exists. I'm wondering how they found us, but whatever. And you can find us on Twitch there, which Lithian one day will hopefully co-host with me, but he continues to evade me on that, so we'll see when that ever happens.
Gonna happen.
We are recording as of 12:16 on Thursday, Friday morning now, and I'm hoping and praying for a quick episode. We all know that's full shit. So, are you guys ready to jump straight into the news?
Yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do a quick one.
All right. And by the way, this is our second attempt at doing this because I already fucked up two things. But let's see if it goes well. So far, so good. All right. Let's start with 11.1.5 news. So, Dastardly Duos is supposed to be on the PTR right now. Testable as of this recording. It doesn't look that it is. However, it is available to test until the 24th, which is Monday. So when this episode comes out, I think that testing will be done. Lith, are we going to get on the PTR and test this stuff?
Yep. Just you and I, because
no one ever joins us.
nobody else.
I don't remember what this is. What is Dastardly Duos?
So this is effectively, I think, supposed to be the Brawlers Guild rebuild.
Oh, shut up. Did we talk about this already?
We briefly, yeah.
I didn't know.
So my understanding of it is that you take on 2 bosses at once, and you can add more. And this is what's been data mined. So we got Brogok from Blood Furnace, which I think is the last boss. Nope, never mind. It's the guy that has the beams. There is Chronolord Epoch from the Calling of Strathome, and Chronolord Deos from Dawn of the Infinite, who was a hard boss.
Yeah.
Foe Reaper 5000 from the Dead Mines, Watchkeeper Galgamore for Hellfire Ramparts, Glub Talk from the Dead Mines, Rattlegore from Sholomance, or Skolomance, however you pronounce it, Baron Silverlane from Shadowfang Keep, Mechgineer Steamrigger from Steam Vault. Which one's Steam Vault? That sounds familiar.
I don't know.
What was it, Steam Vault dungeon?
No, not BFA.
Google.
Click
Steam
it.
Vault. What the? That sounds so. Okay. Anyways,
It's
Hydromancer. Oh, Steam Vault is a BC one, I think. Okay.
Oh,
Right,
yeah,
so
I remember.
that's
Is it
the,
Nagas and stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
Sangomar shit.
And then Lord Walden, Shadowfang Keep. All right, so actually quite a lot of classic / BC bosses.
That's
in
pretty
here.
cool.
But
And then
these
for
are
some
going to have,
reason-
like, new mechanics and stuff, I'm guessing. They're not just going to be,
We're
like...
not sure
No.
yet. Again, it's very early, but the intent is that there'll be a lot of toys and you can like earn scores and power ups by pushing higher. Maybe you can take on all 10 of them at once, which would be very interesting to see.
Genuinely, I love the Brawlers Guild. I love stuff like that. I love the Mage Tower, but the Brawlers Guild I have a special memory with because me and my friend, like, you could watch other people do it and you'd have to wait for everybody to take their turn at whatever boss they were on. So you'd be like waiting on the sidelines, cheering them on, and then I do mine. And so it became kind of a really fun, like, it's solo content, but with a friend. You know?
Yeah, this is
Kinda
Duos,
fun.
dude.
Yeah,
This is
I
you
love
don't
it.
remember us talking about this?
No, I
What?
don't remember us talking about this.
We had a whole
I swear.
conversation about it.
I swear I don't remember
I
us
can't
talking about
begin to
this.
express the frustration of the fact that you are on a effective news program
I
for
know.
WoW, and you don't even remember the news you are part of.
I'm
reporting.
like- I don't remember. I did not absorb this one. This is great. I love it.
So, hopefully by the time that I put this out, we can get some screen grab or video of me and Lithian playing it on the PTR. But I'm hoping it'll be awesome, and maybe we'll have more to report that on that next week. But Scrap, maybe it's enough to...
I was gonna say, can we get a couple sound bites, Lithian, say like each one is your favorite, so that we can put it in,
No, we'll worry about. I'll just again. This will be a chance for me and Lithian to finally co-host a stream together. We'll both be on there. We can see our live reactions, and we'll get sound bites from that. So this is where we'll insert that. Okay.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about more 11.1.5. We wanted to actually talk about this last week, but there wasn't really much on it yet. But they seem to have made some good videos on Wildhead, so we'll go on and address it. And that's the new cooldown managers coming to the UI in 11.1.5. So here, I'll just play this video real quick. And you can see here that they've got, I guess, buff trackers. I'm not sure because like the Shadow Fiend only lasts like 4 seconds when they cast it. And it looks like they also have
Okay, I see. Sorry.
Yeah, like look, what I mean, again,
I think that was just like a hey, you have Shadow Fiend, and then it's its duration.
yeah,
Must just
but
be
it
like
doesn't
a-
Shadow
But
Fiend
it looks the
Yeah.
same.
20 seconds
The-
or something?
The issue is it just stays on the screen.
Yeah,
and
it
all
should
you
come
see is
up
a
if
progress bar.
Yeah, it should come up if
I-
you have it available, or it should have like this is how long until it comes back up.
Yeah,
Well,
this
bar.
might
so
be
this
Yeah.
is this
might
is
be like
your
an early
your
build.
tracker right here. I don't know if you guys can see my mouse.
Okay.
Yep.
But like this is supposed to be where you can track to see like what status things are on, and you see that they also have like counters here as well, so you can like see the countdown for it. But
Yeah.
there is still there's no in-game weak aura that would like pop up to show you on the screen. Like Lithian, I know when you're tanking, you would usually have like a big icon of Death and Decay, just an example, pop up to let you know it's off cooldown and you can use it.
Yeah.
But that's not happening in this case. I was curious if you guys felt like this might be enough. So, okay, hold
I've
on.
never understood like when people have like those all-purpose like BM Hunter all-purpose weak aura that has like all your abilities
Yeah.
their cooldowns blah blah. Like
That's
what this
what it
looks like
is.
to me. But
Yep.
I've never really understood that like why don't you just look at the button to see if it's up or not? Why do
They're
you need
trying
a
to put
thing?
Luxthros out of business.
Yeah, Luxthros. I don't know. I maybe I'm in the minority, but like those Luxthros ones, kind of like I feel like they
Well,
give you unnecessary information.
I
But
hide
that's just me.
I hide all my buttons and I hide everything, and all I have is that thing in the middle.
Yeah,
that bar in the middle.
yeah, I've seen that. It's like, well, why don't you just leave your buttons up so you can see everything
Well,
instead of
because
I don't-
and
I
this
don't-
is a bad example in my opinion because there's so many things they're tracking.
Yeah.
I
don't
think
wanna
the
see
idea is that you
everything.
just want like 3 things on here that you know, and maybe not. Maybe there's more you want, but like you wouldn't want to put your everyday spells here.
yeah.
So if I
Yeah,
put the whole bar up here, I'm gonna like my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 keybinds are gonna be
Well,
there
I
as
don't-
well.
I don't understand why you don't just have your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s and these all together.
Because
I
I
know
don't
all
want to see
my-
the status of my 1, 2, 3.
For me,
I like
for
to
me,
see those.
the action bars don't do a very good enough job at making you see some things not on cooldown. For at least me, like having it grayed out is a lot
You-
easier.
Yeah.
You
And
know
there's
what
not
I
really
do?
an option to do that.
So
You know
here
what
it
I
is right
do
here.
is some things it's like it's kind of hard to see the clock down, like because it's like a really dark
Yeah.
icon or
look,
something.
yeah,
I changed
exactly.
the icon to something bright blue or bright green so that I
But
can
look,
see
like,
it.
This is not only changing the icon based on the spell being cast based on your Shadow Fiend or whatever's that's out, right?
Yeah.
Or your Entropic
I'm in
Burst
the
and stuff.
minority, but I see a purple arrow here and a purple arrow there, and then
Yeah,
the flaming
for-
skull I see 4 times on their UI.
For
It's
this
so
like,
person,
bro.
it's redundant.
This is
So
this is a
redundant.
tracked buff like thing.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I think this is more in respective to like, are you putting the buffs? Well, I don't even know what like that's Shadow or Death. Like
I don't
why
know
would
what that
you?
is.
Yeah.
Brother, why do
see
they
it, like,
have that
4
skull four times on?
times.
Yeah, why do they have it 4 times? Is it
Well,
keybound twice?
this right here I don't get. Yeah, well it's not keybound. This one's not whatever. So maybe someone just
Yeah.
they even have Shadow Word Pain right here. So like I don't know. Whatever.
I think we
'Cause
should
I-
do a segment on the podcast where you send us in your cursed
Oh.
UIs and we
Oh,
That'd be
dude.
pretty
Let's
cool.
rate some
Dungeon
UIs.
League, Mythic Dungeon League at gmail.com. Send us your cursed
Yes.
UIs. We would love to.
Yeah.
look at them.
I'll rate your UI.
Once a season we have this conversation where we argue about who moves the weirdest, like and like how you operate your character, and there's always shocking new like weirdos. So
Yeah.
if you have
People
a weird
who don't use a mouse.
yeah, people don't use a mouse at all. Sarah,
Yeah.
shout out if you watch it, I don't. But she just doesn't use a mouse at all. She just
One day.
puts both her hands on the keyboard like a fucking
Yeah.
piano and operates her character like that. And I was shocked. And I don't
Amazing.
use WASD at all or strafe. So
There are people that use trackpads and things like that. It's
I used
insane,
to use
man.
I used to use on a laptop in Wrath that I didn't have they had like the little I called it a booger in the center of your I don't know what
Yes.
it's
I
called.
know what you're talking
What
about.
is it called?
The
little
little
nub.
nipple. The nipple.
That's how I operated my character completely.
Oh my
I don't have a
God.
mouse.
I mean,
I was
playing
not very good.
classic, I don't think that's necessarily as egregious, but right now,
Well,
that'd be
Wrath, there
insane.
was some
Yeah,
involvement.
there's some
Yeah.
elements of classic still there, though. Okay.
I
Either
think
way,
they
it
got
sounds
work
like
to
none
do
of
on
you
this,
guys are really
man.
going to care about this. Haywire, who is Technique's brother, is probably the best case where we can get some actual feedback on this from a player because he tries not to use any add-ons.
Yeah.
God knows he wouldn't run out of mana, right? Hey, Lithian, if he had maybe used them,
he's
but
always out of mana. It's fine. It's fine.
But again, for the new and maybe casual player, I think this is great. I think it's, you know, at least in the right direction, and maybe they need to tweak it, but that's what the PTR is for anyways.
If you're someone who maybe weak aura seems like it's very intimidating, this is a good entry point into something like that where you can set something up for yourself, and it's pretty easy to manage.
And Haywire's just a casual.
And actually, I would say that because like weak aura, if you don't, most people just import their shit anyways, but like it does take a little time to, you know, understand it and alone then set it up because you have to find the spell ID. If you don't get the right one, it might not work. This would, you know, effectively be just like a 2-click system and you got it.
Here's the thing they still don't have. Like all my weak auras that I have are just putting a buff or something I'm tracking from all the way up in this corner down to where I can see it. And we still don't have access to that.
No, I think that's what this...
But I need to see...
Yeah, track buffs.
Your
what
UI is atrocious.
No, my UI is great. But the debuffs on the
they
boss,
haven't got there yet. They haven't got there.
Yeah, like for example, like Barb Shot or
I think,
Tip of the Spear.
I think the biggest thing they need to make a UI update to next, at least, is the nameplate UI, right?
Yeah.
So those debuffs on the targets following, so you can see them very clearly.
But there's also things that are like you put something on the target and then it gives you something you need to track. Like Barb Shot comes to mind, where it's like, you know, it doesn't matter if it's like what it's on specifically, just that you have 3 stacks of it, right? So, and I need to see that. And I want to see it here in front of my face instead of off up in the corner. Or I don't use the personal resource bar either because I move my camera around too much. So that's what all my weak auras like is just like moving something here to
hold on.
Hmm?
What does moving your camera around a lot have to do with your resource
Well, okay,
bar?
so you know the personal bar that has when you move around a lot, it kind of goes all over the place. Sometimes it ends up behind my bars and stuff, so it's completely useless to me. But yeah, once I do that, I can drop weak auras completely because I really just need
I will never drop weak auras.
Well, here's the thing. I know what Lithian would need is the sounds because Lithian does a lot of sound cues and stuff, and I have used sound cues to kind of like when I'm learning a spec to kind of remind me, hey, like you haven't used this in a minute. If they could implement sound cues to
I
it,
like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Well, and again, we're marching in the right direction. And I agree with you, Scrap. I think nameplates if is actually more important than this problem is.
Yeah.
But I also would be willing to bet the reason why they haven't addressed it yet is probably because it's a very big undertaking to fix, let alone just stacking nameplates, because I don't think anyone's gotten that right yet.
I mean,
I don't think I don't think so.
Plater nameplates like can affect your frame rate, so I can imagine that on their end, that's probably something they have to consider as well.
I don't like Plater though. I feel like it's very dense and over the top.
Yeah,
and
but
I
the
use
reason,
Kui.
but even then, you use something else.
I use Kui, yeah. But
does
even
that track
then,
your debuffs or buffs that you're putting on the
it can. So what I like about it is that because I put a lot of debuffs on things that I don't need to track. It's just like every time I put Wildfire Bomb on it. Yeah, so I can blacklist and say, don't show me this, don't show me that, don't show me this. This is the only thing I want to see. You know what I mean?
I tried to get her to use Plater. It didn't work out.
I don't know why. Plater, it was too heavy and I couldn't figure out how to customize it the way I wanted to. And then Kui was really easy.
How many times have you had that problem with weak auras and you just came to us and said, fix it for me, and we fixed it for you?
Well, yeah, I have had that, but a lot of my issue is that like I want to be able to customize it in a certain way, and I couldn't figure it out with Plater. I'm sure you can. And then Kui, it was really easy for me to blacklist things, which was like the main thing I needed it for. Because I don't want to see all the debuffs because it's just like unnecessary information.
Okay, but like Quasi has his nameplate Plater profile, which helps immensely with identifying what needs to be kicked as a priority.
Yeah, that's.
And how many times do we get really frustrated at you for being an absolute donkey?
I get trolled. I know. That's Kui. It's not really easy for me to see all the kicks because everything's so overlapped.
All right. Well, we're coming to a realization here that you need Plater, and you're going to download it, or else
I don't like
we are not going to do the MDI with you.
You're gonna do the MDI with me because you don't have anybody else to do it with.
Wow.
Sorry.
Wow.
Other 11.1.5 news. Oh, actually, sorry. Before I go on, Scrap. I don't know why I'm on this personal crusade for Holly Longdale to say I told you so, Scrap. But we are marching again closer to what she also promised, that you vehemently decided to just take her down and character assassinate her, right?
Right.
So every time this is like we're meeting these goals, especially in the next year, I'm going to shove it down your throat for being so sexist against Holly Longdale.
I don't even remember why I was mad at her, but go on.
Okay. Other news in 11.1.5. Now, apparently, the legendary Cloak, which was big in the horrific visions, is coming back. Now, it doesn't look like there's any corruption resistance attached to it. And I should have actually read this whole thing beforehand. But as far as I could tell when I quickly glanced on it, there is no corruption resistance. However, it does look like this might be like a new version of Cersei's Circlet coming back in the, I think Cersei's Circlet was a 0.7, but like we're just going to have a cloak that's all awesome for everyone and everyone's going to have the same cloak.
Yeah, so this is a PSA, don't make your cloak your crafted item.
I already crafted a cloak.
Switch it off now.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Well, and this is all speculation as well, right? So
yeah. You'll have sparks. You'll have extra sparks.
Yeah, you have a 5K.
No, don't worry about it crafting
because
this is going to be. I mean, I think they said 6 to 8 weeks. So what? Mid-April at the earliest.
I'm not gonna have 5K for a crafter by then. I'm gonna be broke ass.
Actually, I think they have to have it out by May because they have like a Children's Week or some holiday that they are revamping in 11.1.5 comes out after it. So
don't take gearing advice from Scrap. That's all.
Yeah. By the way, Scrap, can we talk for just a second how you said you're almost fully geared?
I didn't know how high Mythic went because I don't have what.
For those at home, and by the way, she's super well geared considering what 660.
That's what I was saying is that I was 660. Yeah, 660. But I was saying is I feel like I'm capping out on gear and like I'm only just barely meeting that 12 DPS check, so I was feeling.
And you have how many myth track gears?
I have no myth track gears.
Even though you've ran 10s almost every week.
Yeah, I ran a full vault of 10s last week and I got 2 worse, I call them wisses, worse than slot trinkets, and a ring that simmed worse than the ring I had on. So I took a sad.
Sad.
I took a
so sad.
Yeah, so I'm a little.
You didn't think that the 6
behind.
jumps in item level, which I think is a total of 18 eye levels on those alone.
I don't know why I thought that wasn't that high, but yeah, okay, well, pick up some damage. I'm just saying in that 12, I felt like I was like just scraping enough damage to get by. But we had to play perfectly. But I was like, if you went 3K, you got to hit some 13s too, and I was feeling a little anxious. But yeah, I have 18 item levels to go. So
are you okay with them releasing a cloak, which again looks at like a low eye level to start with, but it looks like it'll be powered back up again.
Well, yeah, you guys are going to have to catch up to me in IO somehow, so this will help.
Wow. Wow.
Am I going to take Are you really going to make me take... You know what?
No. No. We stay together.
What are we taking?
Let's look at it
Are you ahead of me?
Let's look at it real quick. No, I'm not, but I was just going to say you're an asshole.
Let's look at it real quick.
For acting like you're so... You're not even in first place, by the way.
I didn't say I was in first place. I'm ahead of you, though. That's all that matters.
One key ahead of me, anyways. Okay, sorry. I don't know why I baited on that. I bit hard.
Yeah.
Yep. You
Is
got
your
baited.
Cat on your lap right now?
Mine? Oh,
there was.
Assholes in your face.
I love that.
All right. Well, this is a good opportunity to go on ahead and jump into our Radar IO information. We are going to take a quick look at the season so far. Soundbite from y'all real quick. How you feeling about season 2?
I love the dungeons, man. They're so fun.
I'm having fun. Yeah, I'm having fun. It's a good time.
It's a lot of fun.
I know. I asked you. You said that you might reevaluate some of the places we put the dungeons in the tier list. What have you changed? We don't have to talk about where it would land, but what have you changed your opinions on so far?
So I think I would knock Rookery down a little bit, especially doing it on higher key levels. That last boss kind of knocks it down a bit for me because it's kind of a drag, I think, compared to the rest of the dungeon. I'd probably move Mechagon up. I'm starting to like that one a lot more, even with the stupid stealth section.
Love it.
I hate the gear cogs. I don't know why, they just feel way worse than they were.
Dude,
I love the cogs.
like, yeah, it sucks when you get hit by them and they come out of nowhere, but when you get that like sick matrix dodge out of nowhere, you feel like a badass. You're like, oh shit.
When I review the tapes and I see all the people that died to cogs, I'm not gonna
It's
say
funny.
any names,
Oh,
but
I was just gonna say, like, I got double tapped by one within 0.1 seconds somehow.
Well-
Haywire, who was watching my stream while at work, mind you, was saying that I got, like, it bounced off the wall, but I felt like I was in the middle room. I didn't have any footage, unfortunately, of the run. Maybe you do, Lithium, but I don't think you had my vantage point. But yeah, I was just like, what the fuck? And then outside of that, like, the cogs will come out of, I think, the exterior wall, but it like comes out fully like already formed. Like it doesn't have a like a, oh, I'm slowly coming out of it. It's just like door opens, cog, and it's like you're in it already.
I will say, I don't think I've ever heard Frank complain about the cogs until just now, when last night he got hit to death by one.
It's been a problem other than that key we did. It wasn't last night, I don't think, but other than that key. But what I'm more concerned with, and I'm sure it's nothing, and I'm sure I'm just an idiot, but it's that the other 2 times we've seen this dungeon, both in BFA and Shadowlands or whatever it was, I don't remember them being this frustratingly annoying. Right? In fact, they even made the beams, the little fire beams that swirl around the room. They gave you an indicator of where they're going to start and all that stuff, and they made that so much better. But why are these cogs, along with that boss in Theater of Pain that has the orbs circling around them, the Lich boss, right? I feel like they're hitting me before the orbs are hitting me, and I'm like, what the hell is going on?
I don't think the cogs are that bad because we did it on 11,
They're not as
and
bad
they
as the
only
orbs.
They only do a third of your health, like
until they
so
double
as
tap
long
you
as
off
you
from an
don't
invisible wall.
well, as long as you don't donkey it, like you don't walk into it twice or
and the other thing is they don't bounce like the way that you'd expect
they
them
don't
to bounce.
yeah
off
they
the
don't
wall.
bounce predictably. That's kind of the only thing I'm focused on during that entire boss, which makes me miss the flower a lot. Like so. But I don't think it's too bad. My biggest gripe with that dungeon is that I've DC'd 50% of the times in the last boss I've attempted it.
I think that's a you problem.
I know. I figured I have all these superstitions. Like as long as I don't charge in, as long as I walk up, it's like it's all good.
Well,
but I'm really enjoying it. I thought I wouldn't.
Between you and Haywire and all the DCs you guys have bricked keys with. I don't know about anyone that's watching this, but I haven't had any. Like maybe one DC. I ask you, have you?
Nothing that I wouldn't have had normally otherwise. Like nothing out of the ordinary.
And Lithium, I don't remember you ever DCing in our keys.
No.
I don't know what's going on. I'm wondering if maybe this is just an isolated incident with Musham having a computer that needs to be replaced and Scrap not activating Windows. I'm wondering if there's, like I remember Pirate Software, Thor, we've talked, about him on the show. He had to replace like all the computers in his company or whatever with AMD from Intel because apparently like the 14th and 15th gen Intels are just fucking up relentlessly. And I think Amusham confirmed he has like a 15th gen. Now he did update the BIOS and all that stuff, which I think is supposed to solve this problem. But I'm just wondering if this is like a widespread issue because Scrap didn't really have many disconnects, if ever.
No, I feel like I've been having them more. Like I feel like I had some last. Well, I noticed actually last patch I would sometimes disconnect when I was streaming, which is why I'm reluctant to stream in Discord. But yeah, no, I've been having like totally. What was weird is consistent. Like the first 3 or 4 times I did that last boss of Mechagon, I DC'd during the boss, like at different parts, but it's just like that's pretty fucking consistent. Like that's only happening in that dungeon and last boss. So I don't know. My computer is from 2019. Flux built it for me, so I'm sure it could use some updates.
2019's not that. WoW is not a demanding. Like,
the raid is making me play a slideshow.
Yeah.
No, I was playing the raid and my husband comes behind me and he's like, "What is wrong with your computer, dude?" I'm like, I don't even notice it because I'm just like I'm focused on like the timers and my buttons and I'm not like looking at what's going on 100% of the time,
I had to heal this week in the raid, and I'm telling you, like, one, I'm not the best raid healer, period, because I very rarely raid heal. But 2, I don't have a lot of gear, and 3, the frame rates were like I was reacting so slowly to all the healing needs. It was just insufferable.
Especially like at the beginning, if we're heroing at the beginning, my input lag is like insane. Like
Yeah.
I'm like constantly fucking up the buttons I'm pressing because it's like it doesn't register, so I'm hitting it again and it's like, oh, you hit it twice. So I'm like, fuck. Like but yeah, no, this has been hard on my computer. This is also the first, I don't think it's the raid. We have a lot more raiders than we've had in the past. On and off.
I don't know. Let's take a quick look at last week's keys. All right. I think I did this. No, this entire season. Sorry. Did I pull up? Yes, I did. Okay. This is last week's. So 1.7-ish million keys were ran last week. In fact, we can take a quick look at this right here. So this is the season 1
people already
key.
dropping out.
Well, that always happens for the most part.
They're over it.
I mean, collectively, we can try to zoom in very. Nope, that's not gonna. It is a little bit lower of a gradient than the other one was.
Yeah.
But here's okay. Before we dive into the actual data of each dungeon, collectively, I think we all agree season 2 is a better season. I don't know actually if we've put that stamp on it.
I think so. It's kind of hard to say because I was sick of season 1, but I like the dungeons a lot. And so far the pugging economy has been fucking great for me, at least. I don't know.
It's been good for me too. I've been pugging
really
on my mage
lucky.
and my and granted I'm a Mistweaver monk, so that's I think meta right now, but but I haven't had really any trouble. We won't get into pugging in the state of right now.
I know it's kind of hard to say, but last season I was really hating on the state of, but I've gotten, maybe I've just been lucky, but like I've been getting into keys pretty quickly, and then also like the keys have been like chill vibes. Like I've done a bunch of 10s that ended up being completion keys, and they ended up being cool. So although I did have that 111 floodgate earlier this week that like floored the fuck out of me because we had just finished the first boss and we hadn't had a wipe or anything. We get to that pack with the blood bolter. I don't know what the fuck that ogre is, and it gets a little messy. Like it just gets a little out of hand. Didn't wipe. It's totally fine. And the fucking mage who was at the bottom of the meter just leaves in the middle of the pool.
I think that's
like,
just an isolated incident. I don't think that's a trend.
I was floored. I would talk about it all night. I'm talking about it now. But like literally, like I once the pool was over, I went and stood by the gliders and I was like, what's going on? Why isn't anybody? And I realized that he had left. I was like, what the fuck? And the healer whose key it was like, dude, who does that? Especially if you're at the bottom of the meter? Like, what the fuck? So
but like,
I think that's isolated. My issues are more people not knowing mechanics still, and people still struggling with kicks and doing things they should do. So it's a little different.
It actually is surprising that you say that, Lithium, that there are some bosses where I will even. Okay, so for example, they changed the Motherlode boss where they have that big not crystal, but like rock elemental thing. And he summons 2 ads, what was 4 ads, right? And it is like I had a 9 that I was trying to run on my monk earlier, and we wiped on that boss a couple times because the warlock was constantly being followed by the second ad. And I kept having to tell him, like, dude, don't DPS it. There's no reason to DPS it because all that's going to happen is if you kill it before the next ad comes out, he's just going to bring another one out. Whereas if you just leave that one out, he's like, yeah, but I have to kite. I'm like, yeah, that's the mechanic. How do you not understand that? Right? And now, of course, I didn't say that to him because I didn't want to be toxic as shit, but that's what I'm like screaming in my head. Anyways, what I'm saying all this, though, is I'm a little surprised, and granted, that just might be a normal trend with, we saw it in Dragonflight, with expansions that they kind of lose a little steam after the initial excitement. But I feel like the devs have been really, really attentive to tuning on the dungeons. Like, I feel like we're getting hot fixes almost daily, if not daily. And every change that they've made has felt really good. Cinder Brew is an example. I remember trying to heal that week 1 on my monk, and like even just the first room's trash, let alone the boss, was just hell. But now, again, my monk is practically geared the same way because I haven't gotten shit on him. But the first boss and the first trash on my 9 that I did was perfectly fine, and I didn't struggle too much on it. I asked you, this is supposed to be the season of healing problems, right? You were ahead of all of us on IO like 2-3 days ago. You've since started sucking again. What's what's your current
Wow.
status on it? I'm only joking. I took a
think I'm
stab at
30
him and I had to take another stab in the podcast.
I think I'm 30 points below, so not too far
Not too
behind.
far.
Pretty
well,
far.
Wow.
it's like one more time to 11. I'm sorry, what was the question? I got
How are you
distracted.
feeling? Like again, both with the tuning and is this season better than the other?
Yeah, the tuning's been really good. Anything that's the first week I thought was going to be painful the entire season has been evened out a bit. And especially Holy Paladin with 4 sets feels a lot better than it did before. So I think even though it's still a tougher season in terms of needing to be on top of it as a healer, it has gotten a lot easier. It seems like the things that were going to be really annoying, they've toned down a bit to the point where they're still difficult, but it's not like if you make a mistake, like just one little error, you're completely screwed. So that's good, especially in like 10, like below 10 and even like 10 and even 11s. I feel like are not super one shotty. Like
Yeah.
you can miss a defensive and still be like,
And you're
okay,
still missing
like
20 eye levels of max gear.
yeah, exactly, yeah. So
Unless you're scrap.
yeah.
She's maxed out.
So
done.
it's nice to see that even though they're kind of putting more of it on the healers, they are paying attention to, okay, this seems like a pain point. We should make it so it's not completely terrible, so people don't want to heal at all, which is good.
How much have you pugged versus Ren with? I know with us, of course, but I know you're also in your new guild. How much of it's pugging?
Pugged wise, probably I'd say like it's probably 60-40 pugs. I did play with you guys a lot earlier in the season. I think my 10s were probably 80% pugs and my 11s are about 50% pugs.
So
as
a holy pally, which is again per Ellesmere, the dog dutyest spec ever. Are you having trouble getting into groups any more, any less, or are you at all noticing it?
I was, but since I've gotten to 10s and 11s, I feel like people have been a little less picky. Just because I think once you get a certain number, they think to themselves, okay, this person knows the dungeons. It can depend on group comp a lot. I tend not to go for keys that are looking for lusts because they will probably pick just like a resto shaman or something.
So if you see that they don't have any
Correct,
lust yet, you'll just ignore it.
Yeah, exactly. Or if they have like 2 slots and they don't have a lust yet, then I might ignore it. But yeah, I just kind of try to look for groups.
Sounds like you're being more pickier than they are.
Yeah.
Right.
That's healer privilege.
Right.
Pick you out of the groups you apply to.
But yeah, so I mean, I do think if I was a disc priest or a mistweaver, I'd probably get picked up immediately from a lot of the ones I apply to. But so I haven't been getting picked for everyone I apply to, but I have been getting picked more as I've gone up in level. So
this is just something I'm curious about. Is there a reason, because you have all healing classes? Yeah, I think so. All healing classes max level, geared to a degree that is acceptable to jump into a season with, right?
My priest and my evoker I don't think is even 80.
Oh, okay.
The priest is like 610-ish, so I would just have to
but
do
you could quickly
610
Yeah.
is pretty good.
Yeah, the Mistweaver's almost there. So yeah, I guess you could say that.
Why stick with holy? I mean, like, is it that you're just that much in love with maybe even the character, let alone the spec, or you just don't like meta chasing? Like, why stick with it?
Yeah, it's fun. I like the spec a lot. I think it's really fun. I like Paladin in general, so just playing that is something I like to do. Disc Priest specifically, I don't love playing because you don't have an interrupt, and
you don't need to explain to us about why. This podcast is vehemently anti-disc.
Yeah, well, Technique is the result.
No,
responsible
not
for
just
that.
Wow.
Well, speak for yourself.
Mistweaver changed a little bit since Dragonflight. I haven't been able to vibe with it as much in Mythic Plus. I still like it. I still think it's fun. I would have probably
get used to, yeah.
Did it, but but I feel like Holy Paladin near the end of Dragonflight was at a point where it felt unplayable because it couldn't really keep up with what was going on, but now I feel like even if it's not great, it's still fun to play, which is important to me that
Yeah,
at least it's fun to play. Yeah, like so if it's not the best, it's fine as long as it's fun. And
I say this all because I want to point out right now, as it currently stands, all 4 of us are playing what would be considered the most off meta.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick look at it real quick, actually. So here's the actually Blood Death Ice are getting a lot of representation, Lithium. So you might not be
I've
necessarily.
been getting a lot of. I've been seeing.
They're not meta, but because Vengeance and Pot are way up there. But they're close. There's Guardian. So Guardian Brews, the not meta one.
Yes.
We'll talk. Actually, we'll look more about
I love
representation in
Brew.
a second, as far as the top end
We're
keys go.
scraping the bottom though, Frank, you and me.
Yeah. So there's me and there's you.
Fucking hell.
We'll talk more about WoWop and how that's affecting us in a second.
Canceling WoWop. That's the title, right?
At the top end of it. So again, shout out to Lo-Fi Banshee on Twitter. She is an awesome statistician for us. I even thanked her on Twitter just yesterday. But here's a current state of 3K and who would be qualifying for the title for 0.1%. And there's only one Arcane Mage that has KSL. Where's Survival? There it is.
On the right.
3.
Right?
3.
Whereas Holy Pally is not even here. So no Holy Pallies.
There's no Holy Pally.
Oh no.
Wait, this isn't healers.
This is
DPS.
sorry.
Yeah, that's all DPS.
I'm gonna look at the healer one.
But I do want to take a second and slow down and talk
There's
about
one
augmentation.
We love you. We're your biggest fan.
So
who's that guy?
Well,
that guy?
who's this guy? Who's these 3 people, right?
I need to know those guys.
So I am curious because I'd have to admit that I was not for augmentation and trying to figure it out, but I was like a lot more lenient on it's okay, it's not as bad, blah blah blah. And this is the first season we've had it in 4 or 5 seasons that it's not effectively existent, right? Again, going here, it is 1/5 of the representation in keys of Arcane Mages, and that is the next lowest.
Yeah.
Aug is dead, like
Aug's
full stop, right?
Yeah.
So, is this good for the game? I don't think Aug really crossed our radar, but like
being dead or the way the DPS is represented.
Yeah, just Aug. The whole idea that like Aug was a failed experiment. This confirms it. I guess is the best way to does this confirm Aug was failed?
If they want to roll it out and get rid of it and just let it phase away, then this is how you do it. It's fine.
I think it's kind of a gross way to do it. They'll be like, "Oh, nobody plays it, so we get rid of it."
It
Just
is.
make everybody hate it until it's gone. I have this fear of like, what if I'm next?
No, I feel like the
Well, you didn't
support
break
class.
the game, Scrap.
The support
True.
class issues, I feel like if they keep this trend, they're just going to abandon it over the seasons, and evokers will just have 2 specs or something like that, and it'll just be gone, and we'll forget
I'd
about
still
it.
like to see the tank spec out of them because I think that thematically is there, but I get it.
I would love that, dude. I'd love to play any tank spec, but
And we need more tank specs too.
If they can't find a way to get it more representation without it being meta, then they should probably just get rid of it because it can't either be the most played spec or the least played spec with no in between. Like there's nobody who wants to play this at all. It looks like outside of if they're trying to push high keys.
If they can make it like middle of the pack, like it's decent, but it's not gonna be needed for everything. If they could fix it to where support classes are mid-range and they do just fine, they could do the high keys, they could do the low keys, then they'd have something, but I don't think they can. I don't think there's a fix.
Either.
They tried tweaking it last season, didn't they? Where they were like, "Oh, it's not going to affect healers as much. It's going to be just DPS," and that was a huge failure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was all on PTR. They changed it like 3 times on the PTR before they just took it out back and shot it. So
did. I don't like that. It's scary to me.
But
someone else.
I mean, and granted, this could be because they did such a egregious, kill shot to it. But I don't think there's much of, and I know there's some people. I'm not going to say it's a 0, but like, I don't think anyone misses it.
Well, that just shows that nobody who played Aug was serious about it. They just played this meta, which is like...
Well, they played it. Yeah, they played it because it was meta. It got them into high keys.
Nobody actually enjoyed Aug, it seems like. we're
Oh,
all
yeah.
the
Again,
Ogs
not
like
nobody.
saying
Let's
like
be clear.
I
Let's
miss
not
my
assume.
Yeah.
Og. Okay, how many people is that? 4?
One.
Like,
One.
No.
Right here. Look.
One.
One.
There-
And also
There's a
I want
guy
to know,
or
Frank, you didn't
gal.
clarify for me, like, did that person only get to 3K being an Og, or were some of those Dev and Prez like how all those points came from being Og?
You
Is
know,
I think that's how it qualifies it because that's how Raider.io shows it.
I gotta see this guy. I need to know
I
if that's
wonder
true.
if
I mean,
that's
we could-
someone we can get in contact with and like ask them why they play AUG, because if they
Yeah.
are into it, that would be really cool to find out like what they like about it and what they think.
Yeah.
I need
Well,
to
I know
find a
if they did this
augmentation
with
of
my
Ogre.
spec, I would insist on playing it just because I wouldn't want them to think, oh, nobody likes it. Like, it'd be like, oh, you can't chase me off of it that bad. I'm gonna make it all my friends' problems, you know?
It's a guy. It's a
Here
guy
it
in
is.
Europe.
3003. That
Oh,
score
okay.
looks
That's an
familiar to
EU.
me.
Oh no. Oh, this is his best. Okay.
3004.
Okay, scroll down. Let's see.
All
I want
right.
to pull up his damn logs. That's what I want to fucking see.
I'm not gonna. No, I'm not chasing that shit.
Yeah, I want to see the logs.
Yeah, he
One,
did some.
one,
He
one.
did some devastation. Look, like some tens. But
No, yeah, but those don't count. I see the 3K
Yeah.
is yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to see what his friends were doing. Like, I don't.
what do you mean his friends? Like,
Yeah,
this is his
okay,
push
so let's
group,
have a
I
look.
assume.
Yeah, I want to see. Oh, their
wanna
item
see
levels.
what?
Oh, by
Those
the
guys
way,
already
double,
capped up.
double,
I wanna see
L,
the logs.
double.
Yeah,
Double
double. Yeah, see.
You want to
That's
see the
what I'm saying.
comp?
I want to see the logs. I want to see how much damage those two are pumping.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah,
He's
looks like
got a
group.
carry group,
Yeah.
man.
Oh, it's not it's just it's just like ET, man. We got
Dude,
our own
that
little
guy's got a
group.
2 and 2, and he's still
What's his
pumping
cutoff?
like crazy. Ellie Shaman is 2 and 2. What they're supposed to be doing?
Ellie shamans are insane and
Mega broken right now.
Yeah.
I haven't had the pleasure of
In
seeing
fact,
one. Seeing a broken one.
actually, I'm
Oh.
surprised, and maybe this is just because the shamans are all split between, like, if you put this one bar
Split pretty
together.
evenly.
Yeah. But enhance is supposed to be really good. Now, granted, I haven't seen much enhance, and we'll get to
Seen
our.
some enhances, but they're not doing much. They're not doing
They're
more
not
than
blowing
me.
me away. The one enhance
Yeah.
I do remember lost to me.
Yeah.
And I'm being beat more often right now than I have been in the past. So
Now that everybody else has force set.
well, yeah,
I'm-
and
Yeah.
it's a,
I'm kind
another.
of-
Sorry, go on.
I'm kind of impressed by how many people play Discipline Priest, how popular it is, because I feel like it's not super intuitive how to play it. I just can't believe how many people end up playing it at the end of the day.
Well,
Well, this
There's
isn't
a lot
saying
of
if they're
bad
playing it
ones.
well.
Can
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder
Buyer
if
beware,
I
just
can see.
priest.
It'd be awesome if I could see by spec. All right, I'm gonna email the Raider IOGM and say, hey, add something to the stats page where you can see by spec their completion rate, because I have a
Yeah.
feeling, and this is for week 2, right? I have a
Yeah.
feeling that if you include all keys, because I think at the high level, obviously people know what they're doing and they're great, right?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
I have a feeling this red bar would fill up maybe like double its size.
Yeah.
I'll
So
have to look into it.
I'm looking at this. The red bar is untimed, right? And blue bar
Yeah.
is timed.
Yeah.
Dude, why did they nerf Rookery but not, or buff Rookery but not Dark Flame Clef? Because I feel like the Rookery timer is really tight now.
They did buff, or they buffed the timer in Dark Flame Clef this week.
Yeah, they buffed the timer, and
Right,
it's
and we can
it's
look at
really
here. We can look at.
tight now.
Let's see. I mean, it's a little higher, right?
That's Dark Flame Clef, right?
Yeah.
That you're looking at. Oh, okay, so that was this week.
Yeah.
I think
So-
that needs an
Yeah.
adjustment still.
I mean, look, it's trending closest to Motherlode and Priory,
Yeah,
which I would say
but-
aren't the easiest.
Yeah, no, I think Rookery is in a good place right now. I just feel like Dark Flame Clef is the one that deserves the timer being nudged around, because
This
like
is-
before we did 11, I had never not plus 2'd this key. Like it's
Yeah.
This is
It's-
surprising
it's
to
a
me. Doesn't that
loose-
surprise y'all? That
which one is that? It's
Workshop-
kind of hard for me to
Workshop
see.
is the hardest.
Oh, it is? Yeah, I'm
well,
surprised because the
percent-wise-
timer is cushy.
Percent-wise, look here.
Workshop, I feel
You
like
can
has
you can
78%
scuff.
time.
it's a lot more
Yeah.
error
You-
you can have that kind of costs you a lot.
It
You could
has the
scuff it
most-
off the rip.
It has the
Like-
most RP garbage. You know
Yeah,
that you
well-
have to walk through this and walk through that. So
And people can't get through the maze scrap.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's
The-
the.
I would understand if it was
Oh.
a week 1 problem, but it's week 3 now. Like
I'm still having problems with it. I've done
yeah,
this
well, you're
Yeah.
sunshine 100
you're
times.
the reason
man.
why we get hate mail.
Yeah.
So
I'm
You're
so
the reason. You're the
greedy,
reason.
dude. On the James Bond part, like I am insistent
James
on
Bond
squeezing
part?
through that. What do you call that? Like
What James Bond part? What?
There's no James Bond
Not
part.
James Bond. What
You're
do you call
sneaking
it?
around the
Sneaking around.
robots.
Is that
Mission
not what James?
Impossible?
Metal
Mission
Gear Solid?
Impossible.
No, Mission
Mission-
Impossible.
Mission
Oh my
Impossible. I
gosh.
don't know. I don't know anything about James Bond. I'm a girl, so Mission
No.
Impossible. But I always insist.
I'm a girl. It's fine.
I'm a young
By the
girl,
way,
dude. Those movies
okay.
are
No,
for
I'm
old
not gonna get
people.
into it. I'm not baiting. No, I'm not biting.
Don't fall for it.
Sorry, James Bond fans. I don't understand you. So
What?
that I always insist on going through that tiny little gap at the end when you can wait and have a big gap. I always want to squeeze through it, and that.
you always
I'm
fail.
almost certain you
Sucks
that one
me
you
in.
have to wait.
No,
No, you don't.
No, you don't,
Okay.
and that's why I like to do it to show. I say, everybody, watch me. You don't have to wait, and then I get
Watch you get zapped.
I get it a good clip of the time, but it's a very punishing thing for something that you can wait for about 1.5 seconds.
It's like a 6-second stun, and then you
I
go
know,
back to the start.
but you can make it through there. So
It's not worth, man.
the greed. The
Not
greed
worth.
kills. Don't do it. Don't be like me.
Well,
So that's where I think that's coming from.
so let's put a recap real quick. So 1, season 2 is better than season 1. 2,
Yep.
Og
Agreed.
being dead seems
Is
to
it
be
correlated?
well, yeah, actually, I mean, I don't think it's correlated, but I do think it's nicer that maybe DPS don't feel the stress of that anymore.
Yeah.
Or at least it took the wind out of those sails of people who were complaining about it. Because you and I, Scrap, from a DPS perspective, aren't having that much trouble yet. Again,
No.
that is maybe from a more privileged spot because we were able to build up our IO through our E team.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think the dungeons are also more fun overall.
I think so too.
Um,
And I feel like people, I don't know why, but people are more chill in them, dude. Like
Mhm.
it's been
Yeah.
nice. I mean, this is the season I've got the most like invites to the next key, where it's like, oh, we
Yeah,
timed the 11. Do
too.
you want to try the 12? Like
Yep.
and it's chill. And even people are asking people who are like low on the meter, like, hey, do you want to give it a try? Like we're figuring it out and stuff. Like and we did that really fucking messy
Wow.
12 yesterday, and that guy stuck around the whole time while we were figuring shit out. Like it's been nice. This community just felt
That's
nice.
because
I'm
he
sure
was
people.
streaming and he was just talking to his stream about how stupid he thought we were.
I think so. Shout out to that guy. But I do. I know people are having vastly different experiences. Like we've had big discussions with people who are having a really bad time, and we've talked about that warlock who was having a really bad time. So I mean, I'm just giving my perspective, and I think it's been good. Tell us why we're wrong in the comments.
Funny story to jump off that real quick. Earlier I did a Priory 11. We ended up timing it at the end, and the warlock in our key said I had to wait 6 hours over 3 days to get into a Priory. Thank you so much for the invite. It
Was it
made me
that
think of that
guy?
guy. I don't
Was
know.
it him?
What's his name?
Did you ask him if he has the add-on that tells you like your total
Yeah.
time?
No, I didn't know. I didn't think that. I didn't think about that, but that's funny.
I haven't had to wait more than 15 minutes for a key, and yeah, I'm not picky about who I apply to. I
But
really think that guy had user
It's
error.
really astonishing. Okay, like we have to acknowledge that there are people out there, maybe not even like 6 hours or whatever, over many days. There are people out there though who maybe are waiting 45 minutes to get into key. Let's just like set that as a standard.
I've waited 45 minutes. Yeah, last season a lot.
No.
So.
I'm talking about right now, like
right
current
now,
state,
okay.
right? Because you waited 15 minutes. I really haven't waited. I can't think of anything but maybe 15 minutes at most. But we got into a very boisterous argument about this with some people in our Discord, and like first off, people assume that because we play together and we have our E team, that we don't have to face this problem. But like I looked at my keys so far this season. I've pugged, it was like 48 pugs, and I've done keys with E team 20, it's like some mid-20s.
When the fuck do you do 48 pugs? What are you doing?
Is there a way to see that quick, or is that like
no? I just opened an Excel spreadsheet and started doing
Can you do mine?
my standard crunching, right? You know me, I love a good spreadsheet. I'll look at yours later, Scrap.
I think mine's probably, if I had to guess, 2/3 with friends, 1/3 without.
Yeah.
All right, well,
the problem is, imagine if you're a rep paladin right now.
Dude, rep paladin is so we were having this discussion with a warrior who was saying he's struggling to get into keys, right? And that he's had this problem in the last time. Dude, the worst thing you could possibly be trying to get into key is a rep paladin, because every time we list a key, we get 15 rep paladins, and it's obvious like, oh, we'll take this guy who has the highest score and the highest thing. And it's like there are rep paladins that are totally qualified for the key, like, but you know, why would I take you?
Many.
But honestly, I've been straying away from rep paladins, like aside from ones we know, like Shawnee or something, because it's like
they're
I don't
also
trust
so
them.
bad.
Yeah, I don't necessarily trust them to use their utility, which is why I would bring them, not because they're
They
mega
don't.
pumping. I want their
They don't use
utility.
half. Yeah, they don't use half their kit. They don't. They don't. I don't know. Sometimes they don't even kick.
Oh, I made it up a notch. I'm sorry, I'm looking at it.
Nice.
Suck a dick, Frost DK.
Oh,
You're still at the bottom, Frank.
Yeah, sorry. I'm now thinking about Flux trying to dunk on me about rogues, even though we didn't speak about rogues last week, but whatever. Sorry, that's
Oh, rogues
unholy.
Wait,
Rogues fell a little bit.
What's the...
Have you guys seen a good feral druid yet? I've still
Mythic
not seen a
Sentinel.
decent one.
So here's the representation of
What is this?
meta, okay? Oh, I need
Uh-huh.
to zoom this out a little bit for the viewers at home. There we go. So warriors, right? We talked about warriors. His and again, I'm talking about someone in our Discord. I'm not in any way disagreeing
He's
with what you're saying. Right?
arms warrior, I believe.
Yeah, but like
maybe it's
representation,
Fury,
the
I
idea
don't
is that
remember.
like, okay, we talked about if you're a rep paladin. So here's rep paladin right now, which is the only DPS spec they have. 13% for this week, okay? But fire mages alone are 14, let alone not including frost mages and the tiny sliver of arcane mages.
I would way fucking rather take a rep pally than a fire mage.
Well, and we'll
In
talk
every
about pug. We'll talk about that in a second when we do our tier list of pugs in a second, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is like, okay, so paladins definitely are highly, and again, this is the top 2,000 keys, so it's not really necessarily a whole swath of everyone in the world, and you know.
Yeah, but
that's what
top
Radar
2,000
showing us.
is like 12s right now, isn't it? Like
I'd say yeah. I mean, actually, we can look at it real quick.
yeah,
it
because like
is
you're like the
averaging-
top. Yeah.
Oh no, sorry, that was
12
the last
to,
page.
12 to 17.
Averaging 12.9. 12.9 is the average key right now.
Okay, yeah.
For
So we're
that top
close.
2,000.
We're approaching this
Yes.
zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, point is though that like, okay, so warriors 3% plus let's say 2% for their 2 DPS specs, and actually this is really surprising. I feel like prop warriors usually do really
prop
well.
warriors. I was in a key with it was a cinder brew, mind you, but the prop warrior did over 2 million overall. I was like, damn.
Can I just
holy
talk for a second real quick about how I've got my biggest frustrating tank and healer combos as the
I know they're like my most feared. Like if you told me like just flat, regardless of the season, just like vibes. Who do you not want tanking and healing? It's Demon Hunter and Death Priest. Like fuck.
Wow.
Sorry,
Talk about
those of you in the comments, you can flame
Talk
us all
about
you
a
want, but
fucking coin flip, brother. But
I have to break out my Demon Hunter.
you know what I mean though, because
I
like
agree.
they're
Yeah.
erratic and you don't like it's a coin flip if they're good or not. I feel like.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it looks like balance mages in general, rep pallies, and shamans DPS.
Shamans are
Excuse
doing
me.
well either way.
But like, you know, that's where I would think the hardest to get into would be, because you're competing with possibly 3, 4, 5 different, you know, of the type there.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say is like, going back to the original point, I haven't had to wait, you know, I'm gonna call it 15 minutes, maybe that's more, but I don't feel like it was.
15
And you
minutes.
haven't had to wait it as DPS.
No.
And that is
Well,
surprising. And I
let's
wonder
let's
what
have
the cause is.
Shawnee. Let's have Shawnee pug
Well,
and see how long he has to wait.
So
Johnny
we
doesn't
got,
pug is the
we're
thing.
gonna
I know
do
he
a
doesn't.
science experiment. All right, we're gonna do it. I wanted to give it some time to cook. I wanted to give some time to, like, you know, whether it be WoWop scores, or whether it be, you know, just letting the meta form before we do this. But yeah, like, I want to see what. I mean, I might even just like switch my spec to fire to see if that will.
If you instant.
But what we're gonna do is, and we'll stream this so everyone can watch it for themselves, is we're going to take Scrap, myself, Shawnee, maybe some other people if they want to help participate, and we will try to make everything as even as possible. So we'll try to get our IOs all together at the same score. We'll try to, you know, whatever it may be. And we are going to collectively queue all for the same key all at the same time and see what happens with, does, you know, so-and-so get picked more, you know, and see if we can correlate a reason why this is happening. Because I don't doubt for a second, I do not want to discount anyone saying that they don't like, you know, having to wait to get into keys and all that stuff. I get it. Like, I've been there before where I did have to wait 30, 45 minutes. Maybe I didn't even get a key in because I ran out of time and I had to abandon it, right? I know that exists. I'm not saying it doesn't. However, I think the alternative, which is a looking for group for M+, even if it is faster, which I don't think it will be 10 times more toxic, because you will get paired with, you know, the Brewmaster or the Holy Paladin, no offense, Ioski, that, and you know, people immediately go, oh, I'm a brewmaster, I'm not gonna be able to do this 14, I'm out, and just immediately leave, right? And then the whole queue starts again, and you know, blah blah blah. So you know, I just feel like it's a healthy number. Like we can see here, the numbers are in green. That's a good indication that there's some diversity in the numbers. And of course, that will evolve as it always does with the meta. But augmentation's gone, so there's a 27% gap here where people can fill it, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I also like not having the pressure of like trying to find an aug. Like if I'm pugging my key, there's something in my head that's like, oh, if I take an aug, this key is gonna be way easier. You know.
Not anymore.
Well, and here's the thing.
Yeah, it was just good because I don't like it.
I think it was maybe Mojo in our Discord that said this to me. I can't remember specifically who, so I'm sorry if I'm attributing it to you. But they were like, no, the thing with augmentation is that people will chase it because it's FODM, and it is so easy to not get a good augmentation evoker out of it.
I've noticed
that you're really
that too.
more likely to screw up taking the aug than you won't. Right?
It's very hard to have oversight on them because it's like, you know, I'm not, unless I go into the logs, I'm not seeing what their like uptime is and shit like that, like the important stuff if they're using defensives and and it's too late by then. Like so it's tricky, but I feel like in general most of the time it just smooths out the key a little bit, even if it was an average augvoker.
It did, but you could say the same thing about like a Disc Priest or a Vengeance Demon Hunter.
I would never say that about a Disc Priest. They always make my life hard.
Well, a good Disc Priest will blow your mind, but a bad one, which is the majority of what I run into, is just gonna. I mean, I'm fine. I'm gonna live, but everybody else is gonna struggle.
Yeah.
I mean, it is fair to say that Discipline, in my opinion, has a high skill ceiling. Like,
it does. It's hard to
high
play.
Skill floor, I should say. Right, to get good at it,
it's hard to play.
High.
You know, in my pugs, I haven't seen too many of them. I've run with a lot of monks and shamans.
I see them all the time in my
pugs. I don't know why I'm not seeing them.
Well, okay, this is actually something I wanted to ask as a question of the week, but I think it's unfair coming from me, so I'm just going to ask it, and we'll take it from here. Part of me, after watching the Race to World first, like I think I even said this in raid either this week or last week. Part of me is like, I really like the idea of raid leading, and I feel like me raiding while raid leading, especially as non-tank, is like kind of a hindrance to the raid. And you know, Max, when he does his raid leading, he's effectively not in the raid. He's just watching a perspective and talking to the guild, which again on a mythic or on a raid level's fine because it's like even if you have one weak link, it's still okay. But in M+, that's like a non-existent factor. And I was wondering if you guys thought it would be a good idea that they brought like a coaching slot, right, or a role where you're not in the key, but you're watching the key and you're just talking to everyone. I wonder
if you would like pug somebody in to tell you what to do?
No. You wouldn't pug it. But like, let's say, okay, and I'll give you an example with Dota, right? So Dota 2 has a coach view. Now, granted, I haven't used it in a long time, but effectively what it was is that you would watch someone play and you'd just be talking to them kind of like a DBM in a nutshell of saying like, okay, so you're going to see this in a second. You want to get ready for it. And, you know, just kind of coaching someone up. And I think of Haywire, again, Tech's brother, who's got a couple friends who play with him from work. They all play Hunter together, right? And he is constantly trying to help them and coach them up, but he's always having to go back to the logs and, you know, past tense, tell them what went wrong, whatever. And I thought about it like, if we were, let's say we really wanted to take the MDI entry that we're trying to get into seriously, I feel like I'd be well better served not joining the group and instead coaching and just watching and being your DBM and saying, hey, you know, do this and pull back and whatever.
That fucking happens. I mean, if somebody's streaming in Discord here, everybody's happy to tell them what to do, even if they don't
I get
know.
A lot of backseating.
Even if they have no idea.
We get a lot of backseating in the key, Lithium. But what I'm saying though is, do you think it's a good idea that Blizzard implements this?
How would they implement that? Do you think?
Well,
I have trouble visualizing it.
They would have to give you basically the ability to switch views to each. You'd have to be able to see everything.
Yeah,
and you'd have to be able to.
Scrap, remember how when we played Plunderstorm, I could watch you?
Right.
Yeah, but okay, I don't understand how this is different from like me streaming in Discord and you just coaching me.
Quality of image, right? You'd be in game.
Your stream sucks.
2, I could, as a coach, I could put up my own UI if I wanted to, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then 3, I can also move the camera. I can't move your camera for you.
Yep.
I don't want
you could
to.
fly.
That's the point. So if I gave you coach mode, right? I ask you, you're very quiet because it looks like you're reading something. What do you think?
This seems like
Reading
something
coach
that
mode.
just you want and nobody
I
else.
was about to say,
No, I
I
definitely think
don't
would
have
be,
any. I don't have any say in this. I don't even know where this came from, so I'm just letting this one play out.
Well,
I just
like-
thought about it while I was watching the Race to the World first, because like
But
again,
Frank,
he's
I
in
mean,
effectively a coaching mode.
I do enjoy. So, but I'm thinking back to when we would do our games and you and I would
Oh God, I would
shoutcast
love,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. But I remember like we would miss stuff like just from like there's already a lot of information on the screen even without me having control of it. So and we were missing things that were
But that's
important.
because
and
we were
stuff
also
like
hosting a show.
that's true, but I feel like I feel like there's enough information that I'm just seeing what you're seeing. I'm seeing what cooldowns you have up. I'm seeing what you're seeing. Like is enough for me to coach somebody. I feel like.
Look,
Yeah,
I'm not. I want to be clear. I'm not saying that that's not enough, right?
Yeah.
However, I think just simply even being able to swivel the camera while watching someone play to look for, hey, there's a patrol coming. Hey, get ready for this. And I see that guy casting back there that Lithian is not looking at, whatever reason, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I only say this because, like, yes, Scrap, I think I might be a very small minority in this that would want this feature. However, like, okay, just a quick talking about Race to World first again. They are selling coaching to people who want to get coached up by the world, Race
cool.
World first, right? And so imagine if I said to Liquid, who, they don't take real money, even though gold is effectively real money. And they say, hey, you pay 1 million gold. I don't know. And you can coach with the best, I'm Fired Up or whoever, best mage, best monk, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's not just like, oh, let me get on Discord and watch your 720p resolution, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I can actually slow down and hell, it doesn't even have to be in a dungeon. Like, we can sit at the training dummy and I can actually look at what you're looking at, but also control things that I want to look at while I'm doing it.
I'm curious if this already exists because I know with like Minecraft, there's a mod called the replay mod where if you're like recording, you can then go back and look at everything around
that
you.
exists.
And I know a lot of
Who
streamers
uses
use
that.
So there's on Warcraft Recorder, if everybody in the group is using it, it'll combine. It'll like give you a combined view of all the different VODs so that you can kind of swap between and see what's going on in each perspective.
We need that
But
sometimes.
That's not what I'm calling for, though.
It's still not the same, but that's probably the I don't know. That's probably
I feel like
closest
you
you're
get
gonna
enough. I feel like watching somebody what they see is even better than you having control because then you can see what they're seeing. Like
it's even
Well,
better.
I think it is because it's like, for example, a big problem of mine is that I play too close to my character, so I don't see the whole arena. And
Wouldn't
you as my coach,
be more reason why I should be able to coach you with my own view?
no, but yeah, you as my coach should say, "Whoa, you should zoom out
Oh
so
my
I can see
God.
more stuff."
No.
No. That's terrible reason for that.
Okay, I don't know.
Donkey.
That's so bad, dude.
I'm just saying this is a real problem. I always
You
watching my
can just
screen.
zoom out. You can just do that now.
I could also confirm that through Discord. 1 quick second, like, oh my God, zoom out, and then
I
we're
know.
done.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's even more useful. But literally earlier this week, Ioski was watching I was watching my screen. He was like, "Whoa, no wonder you like butt pull stuff. You're not looking at anything." I was like, "Watch this, Io." I just disengaged backwards. I was like, "I don't know what was behind me. I just do it."
There's no amount of coaching that Liquid could provide you for unlimited gold that would not make you any less of a jackass.
That's fair. I would love to be coached by like a survival hunter because I'm sure there's like minor things that I could be doing that is better that I'm not like thinking about, or that like there's things that I'm messing up consistently that I'm not like
You're
I don't even know it's a
disengaging into other
problem.
mobs.
I know that's a problem. That's a difference. Like that could anybody can tell me that's a problem, right?
Oh my gosh.
But like I think that in general as a community, like we have people in here that are afraid to be like audited is what we call it. Maybe we're a bit too harsh on them, but I think like if you want to improve, you need to accept criticism.
But that's not what we're talking about here right now. Like I agree with you, but like,
maybe
okay,
I just jumped
so
off a
Scrap,
little bit.
I'll give you an example, right?
Being coached is good, is what I'm saying.
Like
I'm not against
Shawnee, for a quick moment, Shawnee was like, "Hey, I'm gonna try Arcane. I'm gonna try Arcane Mage, right?"
When was that? Is this hypothetical?
It was, and Lithian, you tried it too, I think, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
So let's
I
just
don't
use
remember
Lithian as an
that.
example. Lithian for just literally like a day was like, oh, I'll try Arcane, right? Maybe he was trying to do a troll me. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. And if he was serious about it and he was like, I really do want to get good at Arcane. It looks fun, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Again, I can watch him in Discord, but okay, not even limited by the fact that if we don't even boost, we pay for a boost to our server to get higher resolution. I can't fully comprehend the big picture here unless I'm in game, you know, with my massive screen that I already want to fill up with the game, and not a Discord screen. And then on top of that, I can set I can use my own DBM timers that I can tweak them to make sure that they are maybe 5 seconds ahead so that I can also, you know, give him a pre-warning to the warning, which is literally what I do in Raid, by the way. I'm just reading you guys the timers. I'm just trying to call them out. Hey, in 5 seconds, the coins are going to come out. And then when the coins come out, 3 seconds late, you shout coins, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well,
so like,
I'm just here to delegate that to you. So.
partly I believe that if they had this for Raid even, I might even just say, like, I'm not going to raid. I'm just going to watch it because, again, that's the part I enjoy is the raid leading.
Yeah.
I'm not bothered by
I could
raiding.
see this. I could see this as something, yeah, for a raid caller. Like that makes more sense to me than as a coaching scenario. Because I feel like maybe it's skill issue, Frank, but I feel like you could coach somebody in survival just like by watching them. Like
I'm not saying you can't. I want to be clear. I'm not saying you can't.
How hard is it to tell Flux to hit Bestial Wrath every now and then?
Yeah,
like,
okay.
Just like I can see he has on cooldown.
If you're gonna bring Flux into this, then I'm
well,
gonna
now that he
quickly
watches the podcast, so
well,
I might
I'm
as
gonna
well.
quickly
I'm
ask,
just saying anybody can say like, "Hey, you didn't press your fucking cooldown." Like if I'm watching the screen, I don't need camera controls to say like, "Dude, press this."
I don't disagree.
You know, I don't disagree.
Well, what I'm saying is that, and I also would argue that being in the game versus being on Discord is like, again, a 3D environment versus a 2D environment. It's like, it is more immersive, and so you are more immersed in the thing you're doing.
Yeah.
If you want to be a better Blood Death Knight, send me your VODs. I'll review it. It's fine.
Well, where do you send your VODs to?
I have a Discord. I have a Blood DK Discord that I go to. That's not the class Discord.
Okay. Well, speaking of people trying to get better and the collective community as a whole, we're going to take a quick second, and this is going to be a rough draft because we're not 100% into the swing of the season, I think. But we feel like every time we do a new season, we want to talk about the state of pugging and classes together, or specs together. So we're going to do our pugging tier list. For those who aren't familiar with it, this is based on our experience, whether you should avoid or cooperate. I don't know what the opposite of avoid would be, like, embrace certain specs in pugging scenarios. Okay, so I'll give you an example, right? Yep. We've already mentioned Disc Priest, okay? This is, if you bring a Disc Priest, we collectively agree you're preparing to break your key, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that people that play Disc are bad, but I'm saying that every time I've tried to bring a Disc into my group, I've regretted it, right?
You could put OG in incomplete data.
Yeah, I should have just given it its own thing, saying like OG, like don't even look. Where's OG? There they are.
Right there.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen a single OG yet. So,
and I do want, before we get any comments about it, it's like our whole careful with that. Careful with that. Is that we are aware that this is silly. And we
don't take this to heart.
Well,
we don't like tier lists, and so this is another tier list for you to ignore if you're smart.
This is our opinion based on our experiences with pugs.
Yeah.
Yes,
nobody else.
It's not definitive, and again, we're honestly, what I'm trying to really encompass here is like, if you are one of these classes that we have collectively said, right? You just need to be maybe more mindful of, okay, well, is that while I think that we collectively agree, I don't think we're really far off of what maybe the community as a whole would feel like. I'm not going to say they agree with it, but they feel like it, right?
Yeah.
So like, it's one of those things where this might be a reason why your perception is you're not getting into keys is because you're playing, Disc Priests, and while there are good Disc Priests out there, 40 of them have applied, they're going to take the one that has a 3,800 IO versus you.
And there are Disc Priests out there ruining people's days.
Right.
So
and there's Fury Warriors out there that keep bricking my keys.
Dude,
so.
let's talk. Can we talk about Fury Warriors for a second? Because I've been in a couple timed 11s where the key holder was a Fury Warrior and they were like scraping the tank. But I will say they're not doing
every single one.
Yeah, every single one. It's hilarious. Like, where are these Fury Warriors getting all these fucking keys?
I've seen a ton of Fury Warriors, and every single one is, I mean, close to Lithian's DPS. No offense, Lithian, but
yes, like
right?
close to scraping 2 milli. But I will say that the highest DPS I've ever seen a key so far yet was a Fury Warrior, who like it was like 3.5 overall.
Yeah, but
or
that was like
something.
week 1, wasn't it?
Week two.
Okay.
But I was like, damn, Fury's pumping. And then the next like 4 keys I did with a key holder Fury Warrior was like, Jesus Christ, what are they doing wrong? There's only 4 fucking buttons. Like
everyone I've run into has been bad.
Yeah. Bricked key, Fury Warrior.
Okay.
Sorry.
You
to
make
have
sure
a hard
this
time.
doesn't take 40 years, right? And we're gonna skip some specs.
Down.
We're just gonna skip. Let's just do some tanks real quick. So Blood DK, what do you guys experience with them?
I have not experienced.
Flip a coin?
Yeah, flip a coin. They're either really good or really bad.
I'm biased.
I think it's a little higher up, right? Lithian, I knew
you're
biased.
Low on, check their WoW up.
All right, we'll say low on. By the way, can we take a quick second to talk about WoW up?
Sure.
Hold on.
Why are you derailing this?
Hold on. Let me write the timestamp. But I was saying we should title the episode WoWop is canceled. Let's talk about the WoWop situation, Frank. Go ahead and lead it in.
I disagree with your statement, but
we'll
give you
let's talk
context
about the
as
grievances.
well. So
context.
For those of you who don't know what WoWop is and maybe haven't seen our episode about the total dungeon value, aka TDV, WoWop was an add-on that was introduced to us after our TDV episode, where they're trying to essentially make a score that you can earn via things that you do inside a Mythic Plus dungeon. So right now, for DPS as an example, it tracks like your damage, your interrupts, and how many heavy fails you had. Tanks, it's like how many deaths you had, how much your HPS is, how much your DPS is, stuff like that, right? And the reason why again, I'm not upset, but Scrap is a little frustrated with it is because both her and I are playing specs that are not generating enough data to score. And so instead of just like giving us a wash, they're giving us zeros.
Yeah.
And it is breaking our WoWop score.
So basically how it works is that if there's 3 people who have logged like an 11 rookery who are arcane mages, and you do the worst of 3, you get a 0. Even if you're doing like better than most of their DPS, or even better than your median score by a large amount. Yeah, pull up one.
Their website's also broken half the time.
So instead of like getting, like, oh, you're like pretty good, which is where we should fall. It's like you're dog shit, bro. Like,
let's look at this one for me.
Yeah, is that the one we were looking at where we both got zeros?
Okay, so right here, I'm 10%.
I'm not in that one.
Yeah.
Oh, I am. I'm at the bottom.
You're donkey, yeah.
There I am.
I'm 10% ahead of the roll. So again, I think they do it by range versus melee, but let's just say DPS for sake of argument. 10% ahead of my DPS. I did 2.3 million, right? In this 11. And because there is a 0 and, my spec has no data, I get scored a 0. And that includes my interrupts, which again, I did better than the roll average.
Well, scroll down to like Shawnee. Okay, so he did 1.7 and he even got more than 0.
Well, he was below his median and his roll and his spec.
Because so many people are logging.
That's like one of his lowest ones, so he's gotten higher than that.
Yeah, he's gotten higher. I think he had some deaths or something. Oh, look at that. That's a good one for me. 33. So I was saying if it's 33.3, that means there's probably 3 survival hunters logged, or 4, and I'm the second worst.
There's a 0,
right?
33.3, a 66.6, and 100.
Yeah.
Look at how close you are to the roll median.
Yeah, I'm right on the money. I'm not special.
Yeah, but look at this. Okay. And then I got a 0.
I'm gonna confess I don't really understand the median thing, so I don't get it.
It does look like it's roll, so it's just DPS. There's not a melee or.
Oh, it's just DPS in general. See, I think that's a more useful statistic. Like, am I doing enough? Like in an 11 to time the key.
Sure, but what
right?
I think they don't want to do is penalize people for playing non-meta specs by giving them a score based off of what meta's
even we say that like non-meta specs can still perform well.
Sure.
So you should be close to the median. Like you shouldn't be scraping low.
No, I know, but is it safe to say though that if you're playing a non-meta spec, you're already at a handicap to the average?
But Frank, at least for us, I don't think it is, because we're both the bottom 2 and we're both above the median frequently.
Well, yeah, but that's.
So I'm saying the balance thing is not the problem; it's the perception and the population.
Yeah, well, the problem also is that I score 38.5 because I get zeros, even though I'm doing better.
I'm saying, listen here. Let me drill this into. Let me talk directly to the audience. I'm talking to the audience directly, and I'm going to drill this into you.
Talk to your
The
haters.
Arcane Mage and Survival Hunter are the absolute fucking bottom of the M plus performance.
Let's put him into the pug list right now.
Let me say
You'll
my
be
piece.
fine.
If you look at that meter we were looking
Ricky.
at earlier, they were down there by Og, not as low as Og, but down by Og, and we
Oh,
are performing at or above the median. So like, you have no fucking excuse of why you can't get to that median. I'm just saying, no matter what you play, because we're already playing the worst.
Scrap. This is the
All
argument
right.
for bringing the
That'd
player,
have to do
not the
with
class.
anything.
Yeah,
That's what I'm trying to say. I'm just
Right.
hammering it in because we talk about it every podcast. People complain. You talk about it every podcast, but like stop arguing with it, and we won't have to talk about it every time.
I don't think anyone's
Anybody
ever
can
think
do-
about that.
Anybody can do well.
All right, Scrap.
Anybody can do well.
okay.
Excluding yourself, actually, we'll
I have not seen a
recuse
single-
Scrap from survival. So
I'm not seeing
the other
a
two.
single other
I've
survival
seen one or
hunter.
two.
Well, what
I've
do you
seen a
think?
couple, and they've done fine.
I
I
feel like
Any.
I like a survival hunter because I know they know what they're doing. I've
I
never
would
seen a
say
survival hunter
check
do
their
shit.
WoW op, but that's just me.
For me, it's
There's
a
only
flip the coin.
3.
Huh?
I've had 2, one good, one bad.
Flip,
so for me,
flip the coin. Flip the
Okay.
coin. I think that's
I
good.
feel like you have to really struggle to do very bad at
No,
survival. But I might be wrong because I haven't.
you're
played one.
not allowed to talk about.
Okay, I'm done
Survival
talking.
Hunter.
I
Okay.
won't talk. Go on.
Okay. Let's get back to the tanks. Guardian Druids. Have you guys run with any? I haven't.
You'll be
Incomplete.
fine. You'll be fine.
Wait,
I'm
Io
a
was saying.
tank.
Hold on, Io has a
You'll be
story about
fine.
Guardian
Tank.
Druid. He loves
Uh,
Guardian Druid.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I've played with a bunch of great ones this season. They're indestructible. You'll be fine.
Okay.
He'll be fine.
Prot Warrior.
Not pick up immediately.
Yeah, pick up immediately. Fuck it.
Yeah,
You'll be
yeah.
fine.
Fuck it.
I'm
Pick
gonna
up
leave you'll
immediately.
be fine for now. We can reevaluate in a second.
Pick up
'cause we don't have
immediately,
room.
comma. You'll be fine.
What about Prot Warrior?
I say you'll be fine. I said, I had
Check
one
their
doing
WoW
2
up.
million.
I'm pick up
so?
immediately. Every single one it's been a banger.
Okay.
Let's put it. You'll be fine. Let's split it. You'll be
Okay.
fine.
You'll be fine.
Prot
be fine.
Paladin.
Check their WoW up.
Have I seen a prop paladin? I'm
So you're right
blanking.
here already. I would have thought they were higher. Not like for me, it's not pick up immediately yet.
I think
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, I would do. You'll be fine.
I don't check anybody's WoW up, but
Yeah, you'll be fine.
You should.
I'm too lazy.
Flip the coin for Brewmaster 100%.
yeah, definitely. I've had one.
I
one
had
good,
a
one bad.
decent. I had a fun brew, but I'll say he was the heads instead of a tails. So who knows?
All right. What
Mhm.
about healers? So we'll start with Resto Druid.
Rest
Uh,
Druid? I think you'll be
can't
fine.
speak for
Incomplete.
any of these, so
Yeah,
that's
incomplete.
all you guys.
I've had no issues with Resto Druids so
Dude,
far.
I've had, and I'm not going to put it in pick up immediately because of last season, and I know that's not necessarily
Yeah.
fair, but I've had 3 or 4, and they were fucking awesome. They were so ahead. And granted, this might have been the player, not the class, but they were like preemptively. I was healed up before, like I needed to worry about a defensive. Like they were doing really well. So I want to put them up here.
I'll say, can we maybe flip a coin because I'd be nervous.
Drop it
I don't
to-
know.
What? No,
I
no,
don't
no,
know
no,
if
no,
I'd be
no.
I'm afraid to say
No,
you'll
no,
be
no.
fine.
You'll be fine. You'll be
You'll
fine.
be fine right now. Again, this 3 weeks in. We know this is early reactions,
Okay.
right?
I'm just a little nervous.
Holy Paladin.
Flip
I-
the coin.
Incomplete. For
Actually,
me.
yeah, I've only played, I think, with Ayaski, and I don't think that's fair to.
Yeah,
I mean, I've played with a couple, but it's fine.
Okay, well, what you're the defining.
You said
get
flip
to
a coin?
decide. Flip a coin.
I say flip the coin, but
Okay. That's where we'll put it. Holy Priest.
I have not played with any.
Yeah, apparently,
This-
like they're just
of
like
this.
avoiding.
None. Seen none.
Yeah, they've been avoiding it like the plague. Resto Shaman.
I haven't seen any pugs. I've been playing with Moosh and Phoenix,
I've seen
but
a few pugs.
I've seen a few pugs. I checked their WoW up, dude. I've had
I
some
think that's fair.
challenges.
I
man.
would have put him maybe at the bottom of You'll Be Fine. But
And I'm not talking about Haywire. I'm talking about
Yeah,
pugs.
yeah,
To
yeah.
be clear.
yeah, that's
So
the thing is I
I don't
can't.
want them to get mad at me later.
In general, I'm like pick up immediately just because I'm so shaman pilled because the only healers I play with is Moosh and Phoenix pretty much. So and they're good.
Prez Evoker.
Is that incomplete? I feel like I never see any Prez Evoker anymore.
No, I had a good Prez Evoker
Yeah,
the
I
other
did too.
day.
But
we
I
had
would
some
still
good
say
ones.
Check their WoW up, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And Mistweaver, which is supposed
I
to
had
be
a
a meta
great.
one.
I had a couple great Mistweavers. So
Bro, I
maybe
had-
fine.
I've had some awesome Mistweavers
Mhm.
where
Would you pick them up immediately if you saw them pop up? You go, yeah, get that.
I would. Well, let's be clear.
Well-
I'd pick immediately any healer that applies because I got to get this key on the road. You know. Like,
I think
but
you'll
yeah.
be fine. I think when I think when we get to the end, we should probably reevaluate what we'd pick up immediately. But I think you'll be fine for sure.
So you'll be fine
He'll
for
be
sure.
fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now the DPS. We'll start with melee. Arms warrior.
No. Brick.
Oh wait, hold on. Sorry, we didn't do Vengeance Demon Hunter.
No,
Guess where I'm putting them? Oh, not this
Brick.
one. There. Brick.
Fucking key.
Like,
flip
they're
the
over
coin.
here.
I'd
Like
flip
that's
the
how fucking
coin.
bad they are.
No, flip the coin.
He wants to flip the
No,
coin.
absolutely
Yeah,
not. No.
You haven't
no,
gotten the Edge
no.
Lord personified demon hunters that do the big pulls and then you fucking kill everything.
No, you know why? Because when they do the
Wow.
big pulls, within 2 seconds,
They die.
they
They
die
don't
and
set
leave.
up.
Like it's
Yeah,
like
they
they
don't
have a
set
up.
macro set up that the second they pull the entire room of Cinderbrew's first pull, and they
Yep.
die within a millisecond,
They
they're
leave.
already out of the group. They're already gone.
They're already hearth. They got
Yeah.
that insta hearth.
It's like they have it macroed that the second they die, leave group.
Brick key. 100%.
Right? I'm not saying, again, same thing with Disc. I'm not saying there aren't good Vengeance Demon Hunters out there, but if I'm
Yeah,
pugging,
there's some good
you
ones.
can go fuck off. That you're not even getting my,
Fuck right
I'm not
off.
even looking at you.
Yeah. Fuck right off.
Okay. Arms warrior.
I'm-
No.
Check their WoW up.
No, I gotta brick them.
Really?
Because one of the warriors that I had was a key holder, was a arms warrior, and he sucked complete asshole.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I
what
think
about
that's
you,
the
Luca?
only one I pugged with.
I'm in between flip the coin and brick key. But
Let's put a flip the coin. I'll give her a flip the coin.
Yeah. I think there will be, and they're supposed to be really good. And
They're supposed to be really good. And I will say people who are not pugs that I've run with, like Buck and I ran one with Link, they were doing pretty decently.
they did all right.
Yeah, they did all right.
Okay. What about what was
I don't even know what that is.
Outlaw.
Assassination, I think.
It's,
No,
or,
this is
what?
Outlaw right here.
Yeah, that's assassination.
I
See,
would
to
say
me,
all the
that's a
rogues-
combat rogue.
All the rogues specs
Yeah.
I just say you'll be fine. I feel like all the rogues are
But
decent.
I have
this
not.
season.
Have you seen one of them though? I haven't.
Well,
I have.
like, we
I've
played-
seen all three.
We played with a sub in that mother load
The sub
the other day.
was great. He
And-
was so fun and nice, and I'll put him
Yeah,
in
he
immediately.
topped the
Like,
meters.
one
'cause,
person's
you
gonna
know,
put him in pickup immediately.
No,
because I like.
I
him.
don't. I
You fucking.
because scrap like
You
him.
are so all over the place, Scrap. What?
He
the
was
fuck?
very nice and chill. We bricked that 12 so bad, and he was like, "Whatever, I'm cool."
Yeah, he had good
So-
vibes.
Yeah, you've had
but
like
he
Good
5
also
prot warriors that have done like 8 million DPS. And you're like, I don't know.
he
I-
also took a ton of damage, and he stood in a lot of things.
I think you'll be
but,
fine though. You'll be fine.
But yeah, I
He'll
think
make
you'll
up
be
for it.
fine.
I
He'll
think
make
he'll
up
be
for it.
fine.
Okay, what about assassination though?
I got no
Check their
data.
WoW up.
No
Yeah,
data. I have
I've
no data.
I've seen a couple
but-
and they've been good mostly, but I'd be cautious. All right,
That's good.
Outlaw. Outlaw's supposed to be, I think, the meta of the 3 in M+.
I've
I
not
haven't
seen it.
played.
Yeah, okay, we'll just leave it incomplete. Frost.
Below survival, I saw.
Incomplete. I feel like there's more unholy this season.
I
Yes.
haven't
Unholy
played
is
with-
the banger, dude.
Oh yeah, unholy is good. Get rid of that. Incomplete.
Get rid of it.
But Unholy,
You'll be fine.
you'll be fine. Okay.
Yeah,
You get a
Unholy's
battle res.
banger.
You got some grips and stuff. You'll be
Feral.
fine.
Have you guys seen any Ferals?
I have not
Incomplete.
seen any good ferals. I flip
Yeah.
a coin because I've seen bad ones, but I've heard they're good.
They're good.
If you saw one
seen a
pop,
couple,
like
but-
again, I want you to imagine you've got the screen open, right?
Oh,
Where
I
it's
pick
like
up
you have the
immediately
list.
because I want to know.
Oh my god.
No.
That's just me.
Jeez.
I'd say flip a coin because
So,
I keep.
I want to take
hoping
a
they'll be
second
good.
to slow down here. Those of you
Yeah.
at home that are saying I'm taking 6 hours to get into a key, it's not because of the meta. It's not because they're trying to find the highest IO or highest whatever. It's because people like Scrap exist.
It's
And they're
'cause it's
like,
my key.
I'm going to wait for the feral druid.
Yeah. Well,
So
especially
bad,
right
dude.
now, I'm kind of litmus testing. Like, I want to see what Feral Druid's doing. Like, when we had that sub rogue in, I was
Yeah, but
asking
Scrap,
questions. I
it's
said,
not-
hey, how's the
It's
keys
not
been
be
going? It's been
curious
good."
and pick up. It's pick up immediately the second you see it. You go, oh god, get that,
Like,
you know?
You
when
asked me
we're-
what I would do, and I
Crap.
said I'd pick it up immediately. I'm not saying
Crap.
that's where it's the
when
tier.
we're doing our PP, okay?
Yeah, PP, yeah.
We're doing our PP.
Yeah.
We list the key, and you see everybody join. You see like 25 rep paladins.
If
And
I'm
then-
PP, I'd probably flip a coin on Feral Druid. That's what I
Okay,
said
that's-
originally.
That's the answer we're looking for.
If I'm trying to push the
Okay.
key, I flip a coin.
Okay.
But you asked if I'm
We're
listing the
always
key. I'm
trying to
not
push
always.
the key.
If I'm
Rat.
listing the key, I'm not always trying to push it. I flip a
Uh,
coin.
Ret?
You think you
Flip
have
a
that kind of...
fucking coin.
You
Yeah.
think you have
flip a coin.
you have had bad ret that like...
I-
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Look at my logs. I've had rets that were like on the tank,
First off, you don't log, so what the fuck
and they
am I
don't
looking
use
at?
utilities. No, you can look at my. Look at their. I bet they were logging.
Look at my logs.
Look at my Raider IO and then click on him and see.
I hate to say this.
check.
I usually am the
check
first
the
to
WoW
defend
app.
Scrap, right?
Yeah.
Because like Scrap, you are like you are a technique today. You are all over the goddamn
I'm all-
place.
She keeps changing the rules.
It's an opinion show. I'm giving my opinion.
I know, but I'm worried you're having a stroke.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
I'm flip a coin. I don't like
Drink a
repellents.
warm Diet Coke.
She says
and-
flip a coin. Lithian Iosky.
No,
I'm sorry.
I
I've been
think-
letting her dominate this. So I'm going to
check
put her
the
on
WoW
timeout
app.
for a few minutes. Okay, WoW app.
Check,
what do you-
check
you
the
ask?
WoW app.
Yeah, I'm fine with check the WoW up.
Okay, I
'Cause
agree with you guys on that one.
Rep
a little.
Not really.
Paladins, I
Yeah.
always say I love Rep Paladin because of the utility, but no one else ever uses the utility. But the problem is those people who say that they also don't use the utility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Windwalker, I want to take a second to talk about because right now Windwalker is busted in raid, allegedly. You know, you've seen this in the Race to World first, and I heard
yeah.
Max talking about how Windwalker he thought Windwalker would be great in M+, but the people in Liquid told him no, they're dog shit, and he's like, yeah, well, yeah, because I guess they have a hard cap of five targets. I think.
Yeah, they're capped.
But like, so now that means that like the meta is not going to be Windwalker. But the truth is, at the level that most, if not everyone, that isn't the top 0.5%, they're not doing that many. I know there are some, especially in like Dark Flame Cleft or Cinderbrew.
It depends on the dungeon for
Right?
sure.
Yeah.
But
Priory.
like if we did Priory, like I feel like has some really nasty mobs that at a high key you wouldn't be
But
pulling
think about
15 of them.
all the packs where there's like a huge amount of them.
Forget
Where you
about
like
it.
Maybe you would,
painful
but,
or
yeah.
The
Well,
packs, I feel like a lot of these dungeons have a lot of solo bosses, so that already, I think Windwalker is better than a lot of people
Yeah.
would think because
I
of the
like
single target.
Windwalker.
So I just wanted to put a caveat on that because I feel like the meta is going to say Windwalker shouldn't be playing it because of that cap. But I feel like at our level, that isn't the problem. It isn't a
oh
problem.
yeah.
So where would you guys put it on the list?
I don't have data, sadly.
I think with Windwalker you'll be fine, but that's just
Yeah,
me.
you'll be fine.
For me, it was check the WoW
Maybe-
up at the top end. Like
Yeah,
right
and
here.
that's fine
that
too.
works.
Yeah.
I might be a little biased
Because
because I
I've
like
seen
Windwalker.
some bad Windwalkers.
Yeah, I haven't seen any bad ones, but
All right, enhancement. I've only seen one. And it wasn't very good, but I don't think
I had
that's
a good one.
indicative.
You'll be fine.
think
You
it's-
need a lust.
It'll
I
be
think it's
fine.
flip the
You'll be
coin.
fine,
But
you
that's just
don't
me.
start that argument. What did you say?
Let's put
Lithium?
it
I'm sorry,
check-
I missed it.
I said I think it's flip the coin. But
Oh, okay. So you're here. Scrap
Yeah.
said check the WoW up, and
Yeah.
Oh, we'll put them at the top
I'd
of check
actually
the WoW.
say flip the coin. Yeah, check the WoW's fine too.
Okay.
Check the
Split
WoW
the
up, yeah.
difference.
I had a good
All right.
one.
Ranged. Let's start with what is Markman?
I ain't seen one.
We
What?
had a marksman earlier
Well-
today, Lithium, didn't we?
yeah, we had one earlier today.
And he
They
didn't do
did.
too well.
Yeah, they did a little bit below okay.
I don't think it's fair to say they're going to brick your key. So flip the coin.
No. Yeah, I'd say flip the coin.
I'll put them at the bottom end right now. What do you think? I
Yeah.
ask you. Agree?
I haven't played with any, so I can't say.
Beastmaster.
No, I heard
Bro.
BM's mega pumping, but I
A
haven't
good
seen it.
a good BM pumps. Like I had one that
Really?
did so much damage in
Sure.
a Cinderbrew, man.
But
I'm
how
gonna
many have you
say-
had that haven't?
I've had a few that
All right.
haven't.
I think this is a flip the coin, like you, and it's a
Yeah.
high risk, high reward scenario,
I
right?
agree.
Yeah.
Especially
I'll put it at
from
the very top
pet
of it
pole
because, like,
perspective.
You could take a big gamble, but really, actually, I shouldn't say that because, like, we have some BMs that aren't doing too well, but I think you're not going to really screw yourself on the gamble. Like, you can get a really good one,
Nah.
or you'll get a one. Like, it's fine. It's not a big deal. So flip
It's
the coin.
rare you see a BM hunter who's doing really, really bad.
And
you know?
pet poles. Don't forget about pet
I
poles.
mean, I know a couple.
Haywire did
Well,
one the other day.
in a pug. In a pug. I mean, not in our Discord.
Oh, not
Oh, shit, I
Haywire.
forgot this. I
On
forgot.
his-
Sorry, I forgot
heck is
Havoc.
that?
Demon Hunter.
Havoc.
Oh, Havoc.
I'll
I
say
had
a-
Havoc's
I had a
fine.
decent
I feel like
Havoc.
I've had a bunch of good Havocs this season.
Check the WoW up.
Yeah, I'm agree with that. Check the WoW behind the
Wow.
scenes.
The worst thing about Havocs is that sometimes they die because they move too much, but that's not too bad.
Yeah, but that's it's more of like a raid problem too. Like they're
Yeah.
all right. Balance.
Controversial opinion.
You'll be
pick,
fine.
Pick up
Hold on.
immediately.
Balance,
no,
you'll
yeah,
be
actually,
fine,
balance.
Pick up immediately.
immediately.
I'm gonna
You'll
go
be
pick them
fine.
immediately. They've been
Okay.
pretty- yeah.
Every balance
They're
I've run
pretty
with has been
Unless
stonks.
it's Tettles, yeah, they've been stonks.
Oh, Tettles is great, dude. I
Yeah.
love
All right.
Tettles.
Devastation.
You'll be fine.
I think
You'll be-
Dev is great, dude.
I've
You'll
seen
be
some
fine.
good devs.
Low,
I've
you'll
had
be
no
fine.
issues with Dev.
Bottom, you'll be fine. Yeah,
Shadow.
not seen it.
You'll
I
be
haven't played
fine.
with
I
any.
feel like it's a flip of the coin for me.
Honestly, the only Shadow I played with is someone I play with regularly, so I can't really say for sure because it's not a
Okay.
pug.
I've
Yeah, I
seen
don't know.
some, like, especially when it comes to single target, like they're off the charts. But the problem is that I feel like the people who play Shadow mostly are good at that single target, but when it comes to the rest of the dungeon, they are, I don't know if they're fumbling, I don't know what the problem is, but like they fall backwards quickly. And that, you know, from my understanding, Shadow's supposed to be one of the meta. But you know, I think it's like flip of the coin. Like I've definitely seen one that's like crushed, but I've seen a lot that haven't.
The coin sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, we got the 3 Warlock specs here. I can never tell the fucking difference between them.
Brick key on all of them.
No. Actually, sorry, go on, Scrap.
I was gonna say the first one, the meteors. I had a really good one of those.
Yeah,
destruction.
Top it, you'll be fine. Yeah. The other 2 fucking brick 'em.
Well, I think
Brick-em.
I think Affliction is brick 'em, and I want to say Demonology. I've seen flip the coin.
I've not seen a I will confess.
I've played with a good Demonology, and he did amazing.
I think it's a flip of the coin because I've seen good, I've seen terrible.
Yeah.
But I hate Warlocks.
Check their WoWop.
Elemental?
I know you pick up immediately, girl.
I'm putting them immediately too. They have been off the charts.
Yeah,
I think
they do really
busted.
well.
I don't have an opinion.
Okay.
I love it.
Anything in the You'll Be Fine that you want to bump up to, pick up immediately.
No.
Spare Druid and Prop Alley.
I'm still staying by the sub rogue. He
I want to move Prot Warrior up.
Prot Warrior. I mean,
I'm just saying, is anyone opposed?
No, like I said before, if I see any tank in my queue, I'm picking up immediately.
I know, but that's because you've got concerns.
That's because I'm lazy and I don't care about my key getting fucking demolished.
I don't play with other tanks, so I don't know.
That's true. I asked you, you said you want to. If you could choose one or the other, which one would you move up?
He was Guardian pilled.
Yeah, I'm gonna Guardian pill. Let's go.
Okay.
he's
and then Lithian as the tank of the 1-2 healers in this group. Any of them you move up?
No. I like them both. I like Mistweaver.
Yeah.
I think they're amazing. I just get concerned. Like, remember that time we saw Mistweaver that wasn't spreading their hots around?
That was last season. That was last season.
I know it was last season, and so maybe that's a thing of the past. But
you know, it might have been when they were learning it, getting ready for season 2.
Yeah, Mistweaver's good. They've always been good for me.
I'm putting them up there right now because I'm playing Mistweaver right now, and I think I'm 644 on my monk. And I'm handling 9s without breaking a sweat. The only thing I have to do is be prepared for the ramping. And, you know, now that I've done a couple keys, I know what that point is. And it's, you know, I did a Cinderbrew 9, I did a Theater 10, I did a Priory 9. Right?
We checked the Floodgate today.
Yeah, and we did the Floodgate, right? Which was a 9 or a 10, I don't remember. But point is that, like, I wasn't sweating and I had no gear. So I can only imagine once I have another 20 eye levels. Or I have one piece of tier, right? Like I have nothing, and I'm fine.
And on that Floodgate, I didn't stop pulling.
And no mana issues unless I'm doing something really crazy. So yeah, like I would put them up there. Okay.
I've only had good experiences with them for sure this season.
Anything you want to change? Last chance.
No, I like it. It's good.
I put these in here without discussing it, but I'm just telling you, mages are worse than a flip of the coin. They're usually bad.
Terrible. Yeah, terrible. I will say I've had a couple competent frost mages.
Yeah, I had one good one, but just one.
I have not seen a fire mage like do what they're supposed to be doing yet. And that one that bricked the key, it wasn't my key even. That pissed me off. They're bricked forever.
I think this is an example where if you're doing the pulls that MDI players pull, where it's like 20 at a time, nothing will touch fire, right? Mm-hmm. But you don't see that in a pug scenario. Because even if you're pugging, let's just say 14s or 15s, like you're not really in a pugging space anyways, because you're still going to slow down and probably talk to the people you're playing with. And so it's an entirely different ball game. But if I'm doing a 10, I'm lucky if people even talk about kicking something, you know, like.
Yeah.
So.
Well, also, I mean, I'm just speculating on what happened to my guy who left in the middle of the key. Is that like they're very pull dependent, and if like the pulls aren't going the way they need it to, and their cooldowns aren't going to be lined up, they can look at the rest of the dungeon and say like, "Oh, I'm going to do shit," and just leave. Like.
You were supposed to play,
especially early in the season. Why are you doing the dungeon for the meter? No one cares.
I don't know, dude. He was at the bottom meter the whole fucking dungeon. So I don't know what the hell.
His WoWop.
Well, I'm gonna report it to my blacklist. Like...
So just to he was at the bottom of the meter for the overall, but did he like pump on single target, like on bosses or something?
I don't remember. We were honestly, I say he was at the bottom of the meter, but like we were all pretty close. Like he wasn't
atrocious.
he wasn't like on the tank. Yeah, like we were all doing really well damage. And yeah, so I'm just gonna be stuck on this for a while.
You were supposed to play
upsetting.
Fire Mage this season.
I was supposed to play it a lot of seasons, 2 seasons, in fact.
It's fine.
We'll see. Anything could happen.
It'll never happen.
No,
I wanna
you've
do
already
my
committed that you're gonna play your warrior by the end of the season.
Yeah, I wanna play my Fury again because I gotta show these people how to do it, dude. How hard is it to press 4 buttons, brother? Come on.
Apparently, it's really hard.
Apparently, it's really hard. Yep.
So, all right. Again, this is a reflection on pugs. Not people we know.
No,
and again,
yeah, for sure.
not on bringing the player versus, because I know for a fact there are great fire mages, and I mean, hell, I feel like I'm a great arcane mage, great fury warriors. They exist out there, right?
Yeah.
But not in the pugging scenario. It's too much trouble. So,
too much trouble.
Going ahead and in the comments, tell us why we should be executed and whatnot for our opinions. But I'm sorry.
Tell us your unpopular pugging opinions.
I hope someone scrap doing this to me in the survival Discord. I hope someone from the Affliction Discord says, "Hey, look at this," and links our and we just make a huge enemy out of the entire Discord because we said that they're bricking keys and pugs.
Well, they need to stop then. This is a wake-up call. Don't do it.
Yeah, if you're a Havoc demon hunter, man, stop bricking my keys.
Yeah,
sorry, not Havoc. This is Vengeance.
Vengeance,
God,
whatever.
Don't get me started on Vengeance. Okay.
Stop bricking the keys.
Let's power through these last couple things. So first and foremost, we talked about joining the MDI. Real quick, Scrap, have you joined our team?
Can I just give you my password? You do it for me.
No. Don't even say that online because they're gonna ban us for that shit.
Oh, I don't know. How much time do I have to sign up?
You have 24 days, but I'm not wanting you to push it, okay? Please don't push it. But what I didn't realize when we talked about the MDI is that they have effectively eliminated the Great Push. So for those who don't know, Mythic Dungeon Invitational was a race to time a key. So it was like who could do it the fastest. There were usually keys, like last season they did 9s and 10s, so they weren't really that harder keys. But it was all about like how do you make the biggest pulls possible? How do you break the tech to get things going faster? But it did seem like the Great Push, which was about pushing keys to the highest limit, was gaining in popularity. They went ahead and eliminated the Great Push and have just folded it into the MDI. So I just wanted to call that out. And it kind of breaks my heart a little bit because I thought we had a better opportunity to qualify for the Great Push.
They saw that nobody's doing the Great Push and some donkey's gonna end up like getting a trophy. They saw us coming a mile away.
And here's the thing. Yeah, exactly. Here's the thing. I feel because they've merged the two, now we're gonna have a lot more competition to try to qualify.
Yeah. Because all the casuals are gonna be doing that stuff too now.
But what do you remember? I thought we were like we would and I'm putting air quotes because we very clearly didn't try, so I don't want to pretend like we're that great. But if we looked at what we were doing at the time in last season when the Great Push happened and had tried to qualify, didn't I say we would have like qualified 20th or something?
Yeah, that's what we talked about.
So,
but
if they're taking the top 24 teams,
well, there's less people playing this season than last season, so we have an even better chance.
Well, and my thing is like, do I think that the people who, because a lot of people have just been saying I can't do this, it's too much time, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Do I think that they're all going to come back now that they've changed the format? It does look like they've increased the prize pool.
Frank, maybe let's not spread too much news about this, so that less people actually don't forget. Skip this part. We don't need to do
there's
news
one
on
other
this.
thing. There's one other thing that's happening.
Edit it out.
They're also not allowing spec stacking. So here's what happens. Not spec stacking. What is it? Special variety rule. This is it. Okay. So if we do this, and let's just say on the long shot that we are competing in the 24th spot against, the number 1 team in the world, we cannot, you cannot play the same spec, top 3 specs, I should say, over the course of the whole weekend. So like, for example, it's to break the meta effectively. Okay. So for example, if we were to go against the number 1 team in the world, let's just say, they might feel confident enough to say, well, we're not going to use the number 1 tank and the number 1 healer. We're going to use like the 3rd best tank and the 3rd best healer. Because if we progress into the next day, we can't use those healers and tanks again, and I think 1 DPS as well.
Oh, they have
right?
to change it every day?
Well, if they progress. So if you progress,
Oh, okay.
so I'll read it. During the MDI groups only, the top 3 most played specializations by team at the end of each competition day will be restricted from play for that team on their remaining days of competition within the weekend. Right? So on day 1, anyone can use any combination of what they want. But if they progress to day 2, and I think, the 3 specs that were played the most will be the tally to be restricted from the team of the rest of the weekend. And the restriction is team specific, so it doesn't, like, they're not waiting someone else's team's restriction.
Got it.
But if there's a tie in the most played specializations for the team at the end of the day, the restricted specialization will be decided in the following order: tank, healer, and then a DPS of the team's pick. Okay? So, again, this is going to make sure that the tanks and the healers especially aren't being used consistently. You know, no one's using all prop paladins and disc priests as an example.
Yeah.
Which could give a team like us a little, again, I'm being very generous in our example here, but give us an advantage where, hey, we have nothing to lose, so let's play the meta. Granted, I know Lithian would just play Blood Death Knight and it wouldn't be an issue anyways.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think this is a really good change. I think it'll make things much more interesting. But
I think so too.
The real question is, as our healer and tanks of the podcast are here, I ask you, I know we haven't necessarily talked about you joining the MDI with us because Moosham, but would you be able to handle this if you were in an MDI competition that day 1 to day 2, you can't play Holy, just as an example, Holy Paladin anymore?
Yeah, I could. I would probably at least be able to have Mistweaver ready, and then I'd have to pick a third one. But yeah, I could definitely have a couple ready.
Well, you don't have to. You get the best gear on your character, so you can pick whatever you want.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, like
He's ready,
skill-wise?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, okay.
What about you, Lithian? I know you can play prop paladin well enough.
Me, I can play
we
any
can
tank,
argue.
man.
Oh yeah, I guess you play Guardian too. Yeah, you'd be fine.
Yeah, I play any tank, man. I'm
And
not
bear.
worried about it.
Yeah, I don't know about Vengeance.
In fact, I'd probably
No one can
save
play
like
that spec well.
I'd probably save Holy Paladin for like when the stakes are really high. That way, you at least have the comfort.
Mhm.
Yeah, but well, I guess okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, okay. Well, anyways, I think great changes. Just wanted to call them out because again, when we talked about this, I was under the impression that maybe we'd be going
We'd
up
be doing
against.
the push, yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely different. Okay, do you guys want to take a quick look at the Race to World first and what happened as a result? Because when we had this last
Sure.
video come out, I think the Race to World first had just ended. And now, of course, we're recording one for the next Monday. But here's the current standings of the Race to World first. So Liquid did get the, it says rank 2, I think.
Mythic Dungeon League in fight.
Liquid was number 1 in the world.
Oh, that's
and they
heroic.
finished it. Oh yeah, this is heroic.
That's
Sorry, that's a
heroic.
good point.
Oh,
thank you.
okay.
Here's the mythic one, which by the way, we're not even on.
We're not on.
But anyways, I just want to point out we are currently ranked 4,051st in the world in our heroic progression.
Woo!
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that.
We were fucking crazy stuck on the slot machine boss tonight. That one's hard.
No, but we did, like, I was worried we hit
We
a wall,
progged.
but then we
No, we
immediately
progged.
like we got past it, right? So
Yeah, and I think we're close. Like we're definitely gonna get it next week because
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
seen all the mechanics now,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we're good.
I, in case anyone from Pi watches here, I did put another
I don't
guild
think
that
so.
Lithian used to be a part of, and that I used to help raid lead with. And just in case, so I know I put everything in perspective for us. Ioski, actually, I meant to put your guild here. Ioski, what's your guild again?
Nerf this.
And they were on what, Mal'Ganis was it? Yeah.
Mal'Ganis, yeah.
Oh, I broke the whole
Yes.
thing.
Oh, you
This-
broke it.
Raider IO thing is kind of cool. If you've got guild beef
Oh,
with
I broke the
somebody
whole
else, you can. Oh, you broke the whole thing. I was just about to plug it.
There we go.
Oh, there you go. Nerf this.
Oh.
Oh, 2,000. They're
2211.
twice as good as us. No wonder he left.
It's okay. It's okay.
But Race to World first, so I got some footage here. We can look at it real quick. Okay. I think when we last spoke, we talked very briefly about how hard some of the bosses they were facing in the number 4 and number 5 slot were. But then they went to One Armed Bandit, and while it was I think 100 pulls, that was within reason and honestly maybe a little bit easy for what we've seen in the past couple of raids. Then Muggsy came around and was a really hard boss. I think they did 180 pulls or something, a high count of pulls. But then they
His
went
face.
to so they went to Gallywix, and on their 100th pull, they got the boss. In fact, they progressed from the I think 25% all the way down to 0, having never seen it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's why you see Max's face, and this is THD Lock. He's just like, what just happened?
I love everybody shrugging. They're like, that was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
that's kind of how I felt like when we did it on normal.
Here's the thing. So for a Race to World first, this may not necessarily be good television, right? People were kind of underwhelmed by it. But I'm gonna say this again, very tongue-in-cheek. Who cares, right?
Who cares? Yeah.
I mean, it was a long race. They went, I think, 12 days, which is somewhat long for a race. I'm sure they all wanted to go back home, and people had already booked flights, whatever. But that's not what I'm saying here is that is it good that maybe they're making the bosses easier for Mythic, that people don't quit raiding in let's say week 8, week 9, week 10 of the season because they haven't gotten the bosses down, but also because it just makes it in general more accessible. And like, is it good that Mythic's not going to be as hard as we've seen it in the past couple tiers? I know that the three of us definitely don't Mythic raid. Ioski, you're getting into it, but like even just the perception that the raid is more, and I'm putting in air quotes, accessible. Is that good for the game? What do you guys think?
I actually asked people in my guild after the race what they thought about this one being an easier tier, because I think they got CE within the last few weeks. So last tier is obviously a tougher tier for a lot of guilds, and they said that 400 pull and bosses are not fun, and I think they're pretty pumped that this one is looking to not be as bad as the last one is. And yeah, overall I think it's better because, like you said, it's more accessible. Pretty much anyone Race to World first, like, yeah, you're entertainment wise, it's disappointing to not see them, prog these really intense bosses that only the best players in the world can do. But from an MMO point where people want to try to break into this content, it's nice to see that it's not this huge unbreakable wall that people got to bang their heads into to beat. That's it. That's all I had to say.
What about you, Lithium Scrap?
I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care.
I get AOTC and I just want to do keys, and that's kind of, and I raid to get better in keys, and that's it, man. I think the raids are cool, but I don't care about the mythic stuff.
Yeah, I don't care. If it was dog shit easy, I still don't think I would want it. It's like doesn't really interest me.
Well, you say you don't want it, like that means like you're rejecting it, but
no,
what
but
you're
I'm
saying
just saying,
is
reject
different.
you.
Like them making it more accessible doesn't make me want it. Still,
No, I know, but like
either
okay,
way.
Maybe this is something that I've only noticed, but like I feel like, and Roar is a good example in our Discord, right? Where just the idea that anyone is, because Mythic raiding is I think a fun thing to do. People don't want it to be a chore like 400 pulls. Ioski said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I think just the idea that people who are Mythic raiding, and I've heard it definitely from the top players. You've heard it in the podcasts out there, like Dorky and Growl's a good example, who just left Mythic raiding in the middle of last season to just go play Classic because he was just so fed up of the prog.
Yeah.
And I feel like hearing that from the podcasters and the Twitters out there puts like this inflection of the rest of the players, including us, that, oh man, maybe this isn't as good of a tier of dungeon or raids as it should be. And so I guess I'm hearing from two of you at least, it like that never even crossed your mind.
I want to have a good time in the level that I'm playing in, and so far I think the heroic raid has been a lot of fun. So
yeah, the heroic raid's pretty good.
Yeah.
Do you what are we 3 weeks in? Do you think we did 7 weeks for Ansarek? Do you think we're gonna beat that timer?
I think we are. Yeah, I feel like we're slamming through it, and I feel like we have even, I don't want to say more carries this season, like, and we're still slamming it. Like,
yeah,
so it's good.
I think we'll get through it. Once we get past this next boss, I think we'll be fine. I don't know. It feels a little bit easier. It doesn't feel as bad. It's just I'm guessing we're gonna have to do some optimization before we get through this boss.
I think maybe on Muggsy is gonna be the optimization
for sure.
one.
Yeah, but
Heroic Gallywix is no slouch apparently either.
Is it really? It
Yeah.
was so shitty on normal. I'm like, I can't
I mean-
imagine it being harder than Mugsy.
going back to here, like, I mean, Liquid wasn't even the first to kill it, and they
Yeah.
were progging on it for a little bit.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
say,
So
again, very
I'll
tongue in
eat
cheek
my
there.
hat if it's fun. I don't know, but I feel like Mugsy there was so much going on, and in Galiox
Yeah.
there really wasn't. So I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, so Mugsy, and just I'm talking to my guild now as opposed to the podcast, but I'm really worried about Mugsy because there's some mechanics that I just think our group is not gonna do
Is
well
it
with.
personal responsibility mechanics?
Yes, in the sense that you
For the
remember those
love of God.
slippery ice shoes you get. I don't remember what they're called, but like the
Yeah.
ice. Well, they will shoot an icicle at you that will kill you if you get hit by them. So you have
Yep.
to put them either into a wall of those jails that put up, or you have to shoot them into a mine so that they hit the mine instead. And
Yep.
can you
you know
imagine
what?
4 people at a
But-
time getting that every 45 seconds or whatever?
Frank, let me say something about like our makeup because we do have a rotating cast of characters and stuff. I feel like our group this season is better mechanically if they're worse at damage wise. Like we're learning. Like people aren't screwing up as much. I feel like.
No, I think when you talk about personal accountability, there's sometimes we can when I screw up, like I did on the boss the I can't remember the name of the boss that we killed
Sprockenmonger
today.
Lockenstock.
Yeah, like I messed up because I didn't go out like I was supposed to, but we recovered, right? I think we're able to recover from some mistakes, but when you get up toward the end of the raid with these other boss, like this
This is
Mugsy
for
boss,
heroic again, though. So like, let's be
Yeah.
clear.
I know it's there's some personal accountability that you have to do, otherwise it's just gonna wipe the raid. Like even in the one-armed bandit, right?
But I'm thinking one-armed bandit. I feel like there wasn't like one or two people who are consistently like messing it up. You know what I mean? Like everybody messes up once or twice, but then they learn and they do. You know, it felt like we were doing well mechanically, even if we were behind on the damage curve.
This is a graph of our pull counts, and we only did 8 pulls on Styx Bunk Junker.
Yeah.
In fact, I think we did
pulls,
more.
It felt
We
a lot
did
more
on
than
Rick
that.
Reverb.
Oh my God, we did Rick
Yeah.
Reverb all day.
We did 19 on Rick Reverb. Now, granted.
Oh my God, that was
now,
a
granted,
long day.
Rick Reverb. The reason why I think that was the case is because we had an imbalance of healers versus DPS, and you know, again, this goes back to the. Again, I don't want to be impolite by saying carries, but there are carries happening, right?
We had no range DPS also, dude. Like we had like 2 or 3.
Yeah,
It was
and
hard.
one of them
It
was raid
tough.
leading, not doing good DPS.
Yeah, we had a tough time.
But
I wonder who that
yes.
was.
Oh, actually, sorry, it was only 16. We killed him on the 16 pull.
16. Okay, 16. So that's I think that's comfortable.
Yeah,
You know.
but like, I mean, we wiped on this in the following week,
Yeah.
and yet here, like, we were already just essentially we had one bad pull after we started progressing, but like
This was a very mechanically challenging fight too. The
personal
Styx
responsibility
Junker.
mechanically challenging.
Yeah, that like and the fact we got it quick. I was really happy with our progress on that.
So Ioski, and I hope no one in your guild watches the podcast, but we're gonna do a little calling out.
I hope they do.
You told us
This was a different guild though.
His
Which
other
guild was
the
it?
one he left.
The what were they called? Trap, I think.
You're gonna call him out by name and then talk shit? What the hell?
Trap. What server?
That one is Bleeding Hollow, I think.
Okay, so you just tell us a story real quick while you're while I'm pulling this up.
Oh no, they just
Oh my.
I think it was like 18 pulls. Like it took them a while to kill this
19
one.
pulls. 19 pulls. And you
Yeah.
told
And then
us, you came into Discord and you said, guys, I'm telling you, if you can kill this in a faster amount of pulls, then you know I'll eat my hat. In
He'll
fact,
join us.
in fact, I want to point out. Look at this.
No, I said I said I'd quit Mythic rating. Now I'm gonna go back on that because I'm not gonna quit Mythic rating. But
Here's the thing. Look at this. And again, this is a cutting edge.
Sorry,
guild, right?
Trap.
they have a
Sorry.
couple different. They have a couple different teams too. So there could be a lot
there
of
we
different
go.
pulls
You were
from,
on the
like,
F team.
Well, yeah, I guess so. Their
Yeah.
item level is only 643 average.
It was when they got their first kill, though, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they
And
got it
so
before
to compare,
us.
we got it 650. So we had 7 eye levels on them when we did attempt and kill it, right?
But
However, we also did it in 8 pulls to their 19
the
pulls.
the reason why I said that too is because it was a lot of really silly mechanical mistakes that I thought, like, you know, you guys are trying to Mythic grade. I don't think you'd be making these mistakes. That's why, especially,
Yeah.
I was very exaggerant when I
Well-
was like,
when they came back the following week,
They did worse.
They did, let's see, 5 pulls in one night and then another 4 the next night. So they did 9 pulls on their second clear of it. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I don't want to give the impression that we're like trying to.
Why do we call them by name? This seems so mean.
No, well, it doesn't matter. You can look them up anyways. But what I'm saying is this.
Bleep it out when we do that. Yeah.
My point is this though. Is it good for us as a heroic, I'm going to call it a pug guild because we pick up people every season, that the raid, while it is very mechanically personal responsibility, is it good that we're making progress? Like, is that good for the community? Does that mean like this is very accessible for you and that you should be excited to get into it? Because I came into it thinking, based on what you said, Ioski, I was like, I think we can beat it, but I'm prepared to do 40 pulls on this boss. And is that a good indication that even though they're giving out personal responsibility, it's not personal responsibility that is going to completely. Last season in the raid, we had shot things that if you didn't do correctly, it would one-shot everyone, right?
Yeah.
This isn't the case, at least in Six Bunk Junk, or maybe we'll see that in Mugsy, which again is
a little bit on One Arm Bandit. Like if one person got hit by the fixates, everybody died.
Yeah, but that's easy to not do.
In this one, I don't know how many people do they pick to go up on trash, but 2 people can potentially mess it up. So, I mean, you just need 2 people to get the bombs. So as long as 2 people get the bombs, everyone else can throw it into the boss.
Well, no, but I mean, we pointed out that if you don't get the other bombs into the boss, maybe hit the enrage timer. And
we did hit the enrage.
We had people who were, not doing great DPS for their eye level.
Yep.
Yeah, and you guys 5 healed it? I ask you.
Frank, leave this guild alone. What the hell? We have no beef with them. We're gonna be on their tracker.
But you do now, I guess.
We're starting.
I'll add them to the tracker. Hold on, I'll add them to our little.
I'm not discrediting anyone in there. There were a bunch of good players in there. It was just a lot of silly mistakes.
The best part is that everything I say is going to come back to Ioski, not to me.
Yeah,
that's good.
Well, no, because we know people in there. Like Reef was in there and stuff. Like,
yeah, Reef was in those polls too. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and we're throwing her into the bus.
I'm not. No, again, you could be a great player in that. It's just that she, might associate herself with donkeys like Ioski.
Yeah, right. Like we have a right to talk.
Are you the reason why they didn't get those done? Are you the reason why they kept wiping?
No.
Maybe.
He sounded a little bit defensive there. But Frank, look, we don't have anything to stand on saying we raid with donkeys, dude. Like
we do raid with donkeys.
we raid with scrap.
You guys got I wasn't there for tonight, so I can't take any credit. But we got the 5th boss, which is supposed to be, pretty hard boss for most people, right? And we got it down in 6 pulls. Like, that's super impressive.
This is like a 15-minute long bragging section.
I'm trying to say we're idiots. We are terrible raiders, right?
Yeah,
and
we
are. I was gonna make a joke there about.
We almost one-shot it today, which is crazy.
And yet, like, we're not having a lot of problems. We are week 3. We're 2 bosses away from the final boss. We would have probably had it tonight if we really just went out after it.
We were close.
We'd be on Mugsy. And again, even with just like next week's vault, which we're getting quite a few people there, hopefully mythic track gear, and you 2 aren't.
We got everybody who wanted one last week. I'm very proud of that.
Yeah.
And so like we're looking at a point where we will be done with the raid maybe by week 6, maybe by week 5 if we're really
Thank God. Then we don't have to do the podcast at fucking 2 a.m.
Yeah, by the way, it's 2:12 in the morning right now.
I could have done it yesterday.
So anyways, this is put a bow
I
on it,
won't
right?
talk about that.
Race to World first wasn't very exciting, but the raid is easier, right? And that isn't even including all the buffs that they're giving you through the renown track. And you guys all agree that that's good, and you're okay with the raid being over in 5 weeks or 6 weeks instead of 7.
I like it. I feel I like that there's tricky and interesting mechanics, but that doesn't seem like we're hitting any kind of DPS check, and we have quite a few low DPS people. And I think that's fun for everybody, because it's like, even if you, like, let's say you can't do Mythic Plus every time, we have people who have kids, who have jobs, who are like, they can't play the game no life like we can, and they can, as long as they're good at mechanics and they know the core of their class, they can be successful with us. And I think that's fun. It's good stuff.
I'm
What?
We
what did I say wrong?
No. I'm not gonna say. I was gonna say I'm for the most part because we did normal. I wasn't really happy with the raid. I thought it was kind of boring.
Yeah,
right?
that was kind of boring. Kind of too easy.
I was feeling better coming into the heroic versions of Styx and Rick Reverb and even the Sprocket Monger, which I didn't think was very hard.
Yeah.
One Arm Bandit is pretty good. Although the healing check for that flipping debuff that
the
goes
healing
out,
check
I
is
asked you.
rough.
It's just so often and it does a lot. But granted, I was doing terrible healing. Anyways, I'm a little worried that if it ends too early, I might have a little sour of a taste in my mouth. But at the same time, I just love running Mythic Plus. I don't even. Is there even people who really raid who want to raid for 2 months at a time out there?
Well, we had this discussion in the rating channel that like Bach and Donkin were both saying that they actually prefer rating to Mythic Plus, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, whatever. Like that they just like
Just
like
roll
that.
your eyes on them.
I'm sorry, yeah, I can't relate. But like, and they were just like Mythic Plus, you're just doing the same thing over and over again. Like, whereas like, and you can't. Well, and then I think this is a valid point that you can't sit and prog out like you're struggling on a 12 priory. Now you can, but like you can't just like hit that key over and over again until you get it. Whereas on a raid boss that you're stuck on, you're just doing it until you get it. Yeah.
I can understand that if it was like Mythic cutting edge kind of thing, but
Yeah.
on the inverse, I wouldn't want to be doing 400 pulls either.
They don't want to either. I mean, that's something they said is that they enjoy raiding because it's over at some point. Like it's not like Mythic Plus, which is very open ended. Like you could always maybe scrape out a couple more points.
We're also the type of people who will stick out the whole season, whereas a lot of people don't, as evident from.
I flag a bit, but I try to get at least one in my vault most of the season. But I feel like I'm the flaggingest of us. Like. But I keep my sub all season.
Yeah, but even then, you like pit her out like week 15, right?
Yeah.
You'll come back for the 0.7. You'll come back for the 0.5 and be like, okay, let's do a couple more weeks.
I will.
Oh, Zoo Tycoon, LOL.
Yeah, it depends. Like sometimes another game will get my attention and stuff, or sometimes I'll get to a point where like I feel like, do I want to pug into a 14? No. Like I'm done, then I'm done. Like it's done. I don't have any need, and I don't want to just keep doing the same. If I've already done a 13 of it, like who cares, right? But yeah, I don't know. I like the idea that we're gonna be kind of done with it. I'm probably gonna keep up with it because I want that T-Rex mount. At least doing a little.
But you can do that
LFR
in LFR or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not an LFR person though, but that might be something.
I think you only have to kill like 4 bosses, so you wouldn't even have to do the whole LFR.
I mean, if there's something I want, I'll do LFR. Like I did LFR with Denathrius because I wanted that little sword pet, and I eventually got it, and then I was like, chill. But yeah, but do LFR.
Okay.
I might switch to my warrior because then I can tank it and I get in real easy or something.
Yeah, I do think the longevity of a WoW player is based on how many ults you have. But anyways, we are at 2 hours. I think
we're past 2 hours. I'm keeping time.
Well, that's impossible because my timer says we literally just clocked over.
We started at 2:15, so it's 2:16.
Anyways. Hold on, Scrap. Are you making timestamps based off the time on the clock?
Yes, I told you that's what I was gonna do, and you'd have to translate it because I don't have a timer.
Well, luckily you did translate for me right there. All right, last words, Ioski.
Sorry, Trap.
Wow.
So sick. Okay, last words, Lithian.
Like and subscribe.
And this is, hey, by the way, I want to be clear. I never actually explained this to y'all. I'm going to explain it now. The last words of the podcast don't have to be anything but WoW if you don't want it to be, right? If you just want to make a recommendation to people like, hey, I saw a movie and I really liked it, go for it.
I don't want to talk to the people. I'm tired of talking.
Bullshit.
I'm just say bye.
Last words. Fuck no, you're lying.
Liars.
I want to go to bed.
Yeah, sorry, it is again. It's just late. All right, Scrap, last words.
I don't have any last words. I'll see you guys next week. Hey, like, comment, subscribe, share, get in arguments in the comments.
Make fun of Scrap.
Yeah. We're
talk about how terrible she is.
At some point in
her
these
mic is bad.
Yeah, whatever. These next couple episodes, we're gonna run out of stuff to talk about. Probably, we're gonna do a comment review, and so like leave some comments that might catch our attention or whatever.
Oh boy.
Or send in your UIs so we can dog on those.
Oh
yes,
yeah,
I want UIs.
Yeah. Send us UIs. So
bring me some UIs. Bring me some Blood DK VODs to review. Give me something.
Bring me like he's like the king and he's like,
bring me.
Bring them.
I think that'd be a fun segment because I also like show like my UI and then Lithian's UI and then Frank's
My
like
UI
you
is
know
great.
because like mine is really different from yours. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's different for everybody's. So we can do a judgment of everyone's UI.
Love
All
it.
right.
Let's do
I'm
it.
gonna make my last word a recommendation. If anyone hasn't seen Win or Lose from Pixar and Disney Plus,
Oh, I
it is
haven't seen it.
fucking brilliant. It is so good. So go watch that. I'm still watching Severance, so I can't make that recommendation yet, but I hear the same thing about Severance. Right,
Okay.
Lithium?
Yep. I like it.
Didn't the season end for Severance this week? Or is there still
If
more?
it has, I haven't seen it
Yeah,
yet.
I think it
Okay.
has.
So
Okay. Well, I'm only 2 episodes in. All right. That's episode 43. Scrap has kept the timestamps. Now I'm gonna have to go and digest that information for 2
I
more
don't know how
hours.
you're
luck.
gonna.
I'll be in bed by
dissect
4 a.m. Everyone, it's not a big deal. But
these.
we
You're
love
gonna
doing
lie.
this. Oh, you know what? One last thing. People in the comments seem to think we're like gonna stop the podcast. Like 4 or 5 comments this week were like, "Oh, guys, don't stop," or something to that effect. I don't.
No,
Didn't kind of infer
Frank,
we were gonna stop it.
Frank, you said last week, hey, if we're still making a podcast in 10 years, I hope y'all are still
okay,
watching. That's
okay.
what they were
Yeah,
saying.
Okay,
you
fair
scared
enough.
everybody.
We're not going anywhere, not anytime soon. In fact, now that BlizzCon's coming out, I feel like we are obligated to try to keep this going as long as possible.
Yeah,
Till
we,
BlizzCon.
baby.
we want BlizzCon to buy our tickets because I'm broke as fuck.
We'll
Oh my God.
Lithian and I, we're gonna rent a house on the beach. We're gonna have parties. We're gonna do a official podcast live. I think, right?
On the beach, brother.
Yeah,
Fuck
dude.
yeah.
Can we do that?
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll keep the
Dude,
podcast going at least
if we
that
get
long.
that-
18, you got 18
oh.
months of us at least.
If we get that outrageous beach house that you guys sent, I will not be at BlizzCon. I will be at the beach the whole time. I'm just gonna be hanging out there.
It's an unhealthy problem I have. But when we do like again a podcast and the money I've invested into this, if I have an opportunity for us to do like an episode all together in one room, I'm gonna build a fucking set. I'm gonna get us like
cool.
we're gonna look so professional. It's gonna be
Frank,
awesome.
isn't it close to LA? I bet we could get a house that has a podcast
Well,
set
so
in it.
yeah, that's.
Oh my gosh.
I was actually
Have you read
looking to
on
see because
podcast set?
apparently I don't know how expensive. I'm sure it's way beyond our budget, but apparently they have like mansions where they will like bands will rent out to record albums in and stuff like that.
Yeah, or like Instagram people
Yeah,
will.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
But
yeah.
at the same time, I feel like that's way douchey, and I don't know if we should do that.
We can make it fun. We can make it our own.
we got our beach house. It's a good beach house. We'll have
house.
a rooftop episode.
Dude, I don't want to get my heart set on that beach house because I love
Well,
beach.
if Lithian says he's in, I'm ready to split it at least to put the deposit in.
Oh my god.
We just need a head count, right? I just need a head count, and then we
Yeah.
can start telling
Right,
people what they owe.
I'll throw in for that.
And Flux can sleep on the floor. I promised him he can sleep on the floor.
I'll
at
have
no
a
cost
floor
to
sleep on
me.
sleep
Flex.
also.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Episode 43, right? 43? Yeah, 43, I think.
Yeah.
We love you all. It's really late. Good night.
See you
Good night.
Gator
Good night.
alligators.
Yep.